Oh, here we go with this madness again. Manny, switch it. What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 31. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Hello.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Ryan Manjoma.
3 days left. 3 days left.
You son of a bitch throwing it in my face. And, of course, Brett Murdoch.
What's up, everybody?
All right, Manny, I think from now on we're going to have to start making our own sound effect because this Google thing doesn't want to work anymore.
Wait.
Press it. Sorry. Yeah, just do that. See, none of the sound effects are working. What about my clap? Not even my clap. This is bad.
Works on my side. That's me.
All right, Tony got the clap.
Oh, it works for you then. Why is it not working for me anymore?
It's mine.
Yeah, mine's not working. Oh, well. We'll figure that shit out. All right, Throwdown Your Questions. Let's get right into it. We got a lot of shit to cover. All right, to my gamers that are over 30, do you remember when games... Oh, final stage boss, by the way. When games...
Yo, man, you fucked that up.
When games only took 2 to 3 hours to beat and had no multiplayer, did you ever think that games in the future would take an average of 8 to 10 hours to beat and people would complain about that? Yeah, games used to be even shorter than 2 hours back in the day, man. It used to be like half an hour, like Final Fight and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think it was also just a gradual progression. As games got more graphically intense, the games got longer. So it didn't, I never really thought about that for myself, I do know that games got easier, though.
I don't know. There was a couple long games in the back in the day, like Dragon Warrior wasn't 2 hours. That's a long
Dragon Warrior. I mean, but see, that was the thing. Those games, like, that was kind of expected of an RPG. Like, they even put that on top of the boxing. 5 hours of gameplay, or
I didn't expect that. I played RPGs on Atari. They weren't fucking that long.
Yeah, I think he's talking about more action-y games and stuff. Those were pretty short, if you thought.
Well, yeah, if you played Contra, Castlevania, or whatever, they didn't last longer than 3-4 hours. So Contra was short. Like, you could get through Contra in less than an hour if you just power through it. Like.
And apparently, you could beat Castlevania in half an hour.
Yeah, this speed
You
run.
could, but not right away. Like, that's the thing that's sticking with me. People who can play Castlevania are people who have sunk hundreds of hours into Castlevania, and they've gotten insanely good at it, know where all the shortcuts are, etc. So it's not like you're going to buy Castlevania and on a casual first-time playthrough beat it in half an hour. It's not going to fucking happen. So
yeah, you got to work towards it. You got to work towards a half an hour. Many hours of gameplay.
The thing about those old games is a lot of them were intended not to necessarily be beaten, and some of them were even bugged out. Like, some of them were impossible to beat. You'd get to like level 8, and there'd be a bug. Like, you'd be the best fucking.
The thing is that it was just those games were never meant to end. They were like Donkey Kong, where it has a kill screen at the end. That's your ending because there was no ending in set for that game, and at least in the original arcade version.
Yeah,
so
and they didn't want you to get to the
It's just a memory error that happens. They call it the kill screen.
Yeah, I mean they want you to die as soon as possible. It's like the old Ninja Gaiden. It was a different kind of game that you put a lot of time into, and there was kind of an artificial top. Like, you didn't want to play Ninja Gaiden for more than 8 hours. Because, like, nobody has that kind of time, and there wasn't necessarily a save function. So you had to make them short enough to be able to actually play through all at once, but make them hard enough that you would never actually get through it until you've been playing the goddamn thing for a living. I mean, I know so many games that just never got beaten from that era. Like, how many people beat Battletoads?
No one's going to raise their hands. No one's raising their hands here.
So it's
it's a different thing, man. Like, it's a different era. Like, the philosophy of games back then were totally different than it is now. Now they want you to beat the games,
Yeah, now they want you to see everything. But, if we're comparing, what it sounds like we're comparing value, I would, again, caution people, when you're comparing and contrasting games, you want to judge the level of experience that you had, how much it sticks with you afterwards, and how many hours of enjoyment you got out of it. And, most games back in the day, from an over 30 gamer, had some sort of couch co-op multiplayer. It was rare to have a game that was only single player.
Yeah.
And even those, like, they were kind of set up in a way with levels that you'd be able to pass them back and forth along with your friends. So I found I used to get a lot more enjoyment out of video games than I do now. And I would think that's something to do with them being hard and you having to kind of play. Like if Bloodborne just had an autosave every time I died and I picked up exactly where I started off, I would have put a third of the time into that game. I mean, 2/3 of my time were retrekking after I died or slamming my head against a wall, of a boss I couldn't beat. But that added that beefed up the game and in a way that didn't feel artificial. So I think the old games I would be surprised if there were an NES game in my library that, other than the random crappy one, that I didn't play for at least 20, 30 hours.
If you had to.
Yeah, that's exactly. If I had a Nintendo game that only got a total of 12 hours of play, I would consider that a bad game back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, that's very true. Very true.
The thing is that even so, like, with all the kind of disposable, almost disposable kind of games where they essentially just keep throwing games at you. I mean, like in the old days, a game that was, games were considered expensive. $60, $50 was considered expensive. And when your parents bought you those things, they expected you to be continuing to play it, and you even continued to play it because there wasn't a lot. Like now, look at how many games that you own nowadays compared to what you owned originally.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like I remember back in the day, like if you would get 3 games in 1 year, that would be considered a lot. Like, but now it's like 20 games. Like, okay, whatever, There's just so many games now.
Let's go over to Dave's house. He has like 6 games.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I got 6 games total.
Like, no, he has 6 Super Nintendo games.
Complaining about. Oh, I was gonna say people complaining about game length. A lot of. For what? A lot of the people are complaining about game length are people who don't even have even played certain games.
Yeah.
I complain about game length.
Yeah, but the thing is, how do you know? You know it's not worth it for you. But I mean, some people find that is just what they need.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of times, like for the sake of clarity, when I complain about the length of a game, I'm oftentimes not actually speaking on the quality of the game itself. It's coming from a point of principle that I feel that you should pay X amount of dollars per hour of entertainment, and this goes for all things. This goes for movies. I won't pay $30 to go to a movie theater for an hour and a half and be entertained. It's not worth.
Wait, even depends on even the movie doesn't matter because I'm like, dude, I paid $30 to go see Age of Ultron. Shit.
I wouldn't.
It depends. Like if it's one of those we have a movie theater up here we call the Sit Theater. It's all like angular black lines and red lights, and the seats vibrate because they all have subwoofers in them, and it's 240 gigahertz IMAX 3D blah blah blah. Like it is the tits, and I will pay $30 to go to that thing because it's fucking amazing. But not just for any movie. Like when Star Wars come out, seeing it in the Sit Theater. When Avengers comes out, I'm seeing it in the Sit Theater. When Deadpool comes out, I'm seeing it in the Sit Theater because it's going to be awesome and it's almost overstimulation. So that, yeah, I consider that to be something that's a little harder to get. It's something that I can't replicate in my living room, and it's something that I'll pay a little bit extra for. But that's kind of I feel like I'm getting more. But for the most part, on an average rule of thumb, if I break a $20 per hour price point, that is too rich for my blood. Like, I will not pay $20 an hour to be entertained unless it's just something I'm going to fucking remember or a special occasion.
Yeah, everybody has a different thing when it comes to that, Mm-hmm. All right, I think we answered that one, so let's move it on. Next question. Who do you think will be the first to announce a slim console redesign? I'm not sure if the PS4 could get any slimmer, but we all know the Xbox One needs gastric bypass surgery.
Number one, how many times did Microsoft redesign their console? Their console didn't get any smaller each iteration. Not that smaller.
It did. It got smaller.
And it took a few years for that first initial one to change.
But, okay, so you think Sony will be the first one?
I think Sony will, just like the last time, Sony will be the first one to switch them. If they can somehow make the PlayStation 4 thinner.
Yeah, I don't think it's like I read this. I forgot where I read it from, but I kind of agree with them. They're like, the PS4 is already the slim version of the PS4 already. You can't really get any slimmer than that.
They literally.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Go ahead.
They literally designed the last generation version of the PlayStation 4 for the first generation.
Exactly. Yeah. So if anyone's I'm gonna go with Xbox. They're gonna be the first one. I don't think Sony's gonna do it this time around. You can't get any smaller than that. Anyway,
Well, it
Brandon,
happened to the PS2. It happened to the PS3. Why not the PS4?
the PS3.
Look how
PS3 was getting
stupid thin. Look how stupid slim the PS2 got. Like that thing was like.
Why do it was barely bigger than the DualShock controller. That's how small the PS2.
Yeah.
For the most part, why do we care? Like, if I came to you and I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to sell you a console that is made from outsourced materials now relegated to a second factory that are probably less, a lower quality than the original ones, and I'm going to throw in completely free of charge a smaller chassis that moves hot air around sluggishly and doesn't actually ventilate the system well. And for all this, you can run out and buy a PlayStation. Like, why? I have, unless it has a specific upgrade, like, what is there a premium on cabinet space in our entertainment centers? Why do we need it smaller? It's not better because it's smaller. It's just fucking hotter.
Yeah, I mean, but there is a premium. I can't get an Xbox because it's so fucking big,
Usually the later iterations have better, function a lot better than the original ones. Like, they have less chance of overheating, stuff like that.
So that's my PlayStation 2.
Yeah, my PS3 died. My first one died like a year and a half after I bought it. My current PS3 is still working just fine. It's smaller, but has better circulation and stuff in it.
Well, they always refab those boards. They always find a way to get the chips smaller, to run a little cooler, lower voltage, means less heat. So that's why they do it. Plus, it's cost cutting, right? That's the main reason they do it. They're not doing it for your benefit. They're doing it because it just costs less to manufacture. So when they just get the new stuff, the new boards and whatever, they redesign the chassis, make it smaller, make sure it doesn't overheat, and just put it out as a revision. I don't know if Xbox, I don't know who's going to do it first, because I haven't heard of Xbox One having the kind of problems that 360 was having.
They avoided that shit. I thought they made it that big, so it has like plenty of room,
Yeah, it has plenty of room.
They put like a shitload of fans in that thing just so to make sure it doesn't even overheat.
Well,
that would have been
I'll tell you what,
death.
I don't hear it. Like, when I turn on my PS4 or my Xbox One, I don't really hear them. So if they put in fans, they like I hear my PS4 sometimes like
go and play GTA 5 and watch your PS4 just turn it into damn Hoover. That thing gets loud when you play
that PS3. The first game I did that with me was Infamous Second Son. It's like okay, here we go. And so GTA 5 does it. Bloodborne sometimes does it.
Yeah, once in a while, Bloodborne, like, my fan will go up and then it'll go back down. I'm like, what the hell? But Xbox One, for the most part, doesn't do that.
Yeah, they probably designed it.
Like I said, it has a shitload of fans in it. That thing literally is a giant fan.
Well, you remember my 360? You could barely hear a movie over the fucking thing. It's like it was pointless to use it as a DVD player. It was louder than the TV.
That's funny, man.
This will surprise some people, but I will go out on a limb and say that the Xbox One is actually a quality designed piece of equipment. Their engineers did a really good job. Unfortunately, their engineers, in my opinion, were focusing on the wrong thing to build really well, but it doesn't mean that it's not a well-constructed piece of equipment. It does the job it was intended to do. I just don't agree with the job they intended it to do.
It's better constructed than the last two Xbox created.
Yes. We haven't heard any complaints about Red Rings of Death, anything like that, We're fine.
Seems so.
Anyway, Brett, since you're talking, which one do you think is going to get a redesign first?
I think it's going to be the Xbox, because the PlayStation kind of came out with a forward-thinking design. It's a pretty console. Even when people, they unveiled it, for the most part, every time a console is unveiled, there's a large group of people who are like, oh, that thing looks like a VCR, or that thing looks like a blah, blah, blah. And for the most part, there was a little bit bitching, but people were really surprised. Like, that's actually a pretty fucking sleek-looking console. I'm okay with that. I like the big blue line that runs up it. I like the sharp angles on it. It looks different from anything else I have. It's got a little bit of character, and I think because it looks nice, nobody's sitting there being like, oh, fucking PlayStation, like looking like ass in my console or in my media setup. Like, it's not obtrusive. It's not very big. So I would say it's going to be the Xbox because I've heard it compared to a VCR on more than a couple of occasions.
Oh yeah, Betamax.
I say
man.
it looks exactly like a CDI. I've even posted pictures of the CDI and the Xbox One. They literally look like the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Brian, what do you think?
Oh yeah, by the way, the CDI was smaller than that.
Brian, go ahead, man.
Xbox, I guess. That's the one. That's the larger one, and I'm assuming that it can be like trimmed down like a little bit and not affect heat that much.
Yeah, by like 25%.
Brian,
the one thing that I'd love to see is a noise comparison between the PS4 and Xbox One when playing video games. That's the one thing that I've yet to see on any website yet.
Yeah, right. They compare graphics. Now, Manny, what are you gonna ask,
Brian? I'm gonna put it into terms that you can understand. Which is gonna get smaller? The PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, or your PC?
No, the Xbox One. You mean? That is a good question. So, out of those three, which is gonna get smaller? The current gen consoles or your PC?
I'm not ready to make my PC smaller. I just don't want to. There's no need to be smaller. It's fine. Like I've seen like PC builds that like make the PS4 look stupid. As in, it really does make the PS4 just look dumb. But my PC is fine. It does what it does best, which is be a giant black box that's just there. You know, it's like the thing from what's that movie called? The 2001 Space Odyssey.
Monolith.
The monolith. Yeah.
It does a good job of being just a monolith, just a giant black box that stands there, making people feel small. And that's why I love it.
Yeah. And it has apes around it, worshiping it and beating bones on it.
Yeah, we just call them console peasants. They're just afraid of the technology. It's like, what is this graphics? This makes no sense. You know?
See, Brian, I set it up just for you, man.
Cheers, Tony. Well, yeah, the Xbox One is my best bet because I feel like it could be smaller, but then again, I don't know how much power it's drawing at the moment. I don't know how loud it can get, so I have no real frame of reference to see exactly why. The PS4, I think it's fine the way it is. Like I have the first Slim PS3, and it's about the same size, so I really have no complaints about it. I just don't like the angles of the PS4. It just looks like it's someone just sat on it and like it's just moved slightly.
You know, I felt like with the Xbox 360, it felt like somebody sat on it and squished the top of it in.
No, it felt like someone just like took like a normal cube and then just stretched it out. And then just
they stretch it out, and then you know how the center gets thin.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, you know. But hey. To be honest, I don't really mind which one gets smaller first. The only thing I care about as long as the noise is kept down and they don't run into damn hardware failures. That's one thing I care about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Final question from Final Stage Boss. This is a good one. If resolution doesn't matter, why did everyone rush to buy HDTVs when their 480p standard televisions work just fine? Now, we're going to put this in video game context because obviously with television context, you needed them because every show is being broadcast in HD now. But as far as games goes, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, every game's in HD now. Got to upgrade the fucking, TVs. It's as simple as that. You know, at least for me, that's what it was. Like,
I didn't do that. All that happened with me is I wound up moving, and we got a new TV, and that's how I got HD.
Yeah, that's right. At last gen, you were on a regular television for a while.
Yeah, for half of PlayStation 3's generation, I was still playing that shit on a regular television, and I couldn't even read the font on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I think. Well, let's see, Chris. What year did we move? Like 2010.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was like 2010. Tony bought me Grand Theft Auto 4 and maybe 2008. In 2008, I only played that game, to get past the beginning. I got so frustrated because I couldn't read any of the messages on it. I stopped playing. Also, I wasn't really liking the way the game was driving. Anyway, when we got the TV for the living room, that's when I actually played it again.
Yeah, I actually had the same problem when I first got GTA 4. I still had a big RCA CRT, and I couldn't read the phone. Every time the phone, I couldn't read. I literally put my face up to the TV screen. I still couldn't read it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The TV.
I had that problem with the first Dead Rising.
Oh man, but yeah, I guess we're having similar reasons. But that's with me. It's like, okay, I know games are going to be 720p now. Let me get a 720p television. Simple as that. I always upgrade my television whenever I get a new console too. I always got a 1080p one when the new consoles came out.
I'm with you, Final Stage Boss. I'm with you, man. I care about graphics. I care about resolution. I care about immersion. I am a visual person. Make that shit pretty. J.J. Abrams that shit up. Put some fucking lens flares, some backlighting in there. Let's get some, orange light in the front, blue in the back, some CSI kind of lighting going on. I don't fucking care. Make it gorgeous. Just don't do it at the expense of gameplay. And honestly, between you and me and not everybody else in this room, because I've had this conversation with Tony a dozen times, it matters. But the problem is the people who say that they don't care automatically want to assume that the conversation is going to go the way of, oh, it's gameplay or graphics. And that's not necessarily the case, I would imagine, for a lot of us people who are saying, I want my game to look pretty. I don't want it to be press X to win, boring as shit. The whole thing is a really pretty cutscene game. But I like it when things look good. It adds a certain level of immersion. But I found something really interesting, and I wanted to bring this up. There's other things other than graphics that can add to immersion, like the way both Dragon Age and Bloodborne cover you with blood during a fight. Like, I think that's really cool. So yeah, I think graphics matter if it makes you feel like nobody else does. I don't think Brian does, because he's Master Race.
He's Master Race. That's graphics. That's what it's all about.
I like graphics too. I play PC.
Everybody likes graphics. It's just, but the thing is, you can't have a 480p television and have a game that's at 720p. You're not going to be able to read anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to play Elite Dangerous on an old Zenith fucking CRT television. Like, it's just not going to do it justice.
I didn't buy it because I had to. I bought it because I wanted. Like, the second I was like, HD gaming? Fuck yeah.
Okay,
well,
different thing.
We were kind of all thrust into it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
The console's like, oh, there's HDMI, and look, there's these games running in 720 and 1080. You really had no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You had no choice.
Had to upgrade.
They dragged the rest of us kicking and screaming into the
my regular TV was fucking badass too, man. It was flat too.
Though the creators of Metal Gear Online actually were testing the game on a CRT television.
Yeah, because in those days you kind of had to as well.
No, recently they even posted a picture. Recently, they showed a PlayStation 3 on a crappy old 4 something.
3 or 4? PlayStation 3 or 4?
PlayStation 3. So it's PlayStation 3 because remember, Metal Gear Online 3 or whatever is on the original PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So they literally showed like, yep, we tested on everything, and they showed it running on a little cheesy 4.
That's the Japanese for you, man.
Japanese are crazy, man.
This wasn't the Japanese. This is the American side.
Really?
They're testing it out on. So I'm sure Japan side was doing it too.
Yeah. So I guess to answer the question, some people did it because they wanted to. Some people were forced to. All right. Thank you, Final Stage Swass.
It wasn't a resolution that you wanted, but it's the resolution that you got.
Yeah. Right. All right. My man Kimax.
All I need to say is that resolution matters, and I'll just leave it at that. That's all.
All right, because we're not trying to get into that again. All right. Actually, it does. It does matter if you're trying to read the fucking thing, phone thing on Nico's phone.
Well, and nowadays, I think they're a little bit more wary as to those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like maybe some of the games. I'm not. A lot of the games after that game. At least Grand Theft Auto was the one case that have it, but other games managed to be a little bit more wary as to the fact that most people may not be playing it on an HD television, and maybe do fonts accordingly, or even have fonts that adjust themselves depending on the display.
Yeah, because people complain like crazy about that one.
That's actually what I want to see as well, like other comparisons, like comparing how different outputs actually affect the game. So have a game running on a 360p TV, old CRT, compare that to how it runs on a HD 1080p TV. See whether or not that's at scale right or not. That's one thing that people don't tend to look at. A
lot of times what happens is that they'll put the black boxes on the top and the bottom, or the other alternative is it zooms into a portion of the game. That's why some games used to have their the bars and stuff a little toward the center, kind of like the way the TVs used to, normal TV shows used to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. My man, Killax214. Do you guys give out your gamer tag to your fans? I do, and I know you got mine, Killax.
For me, I don't.
Oh,
I don't
explain
do that.
yourself.
I just like to keep my. I'm very picky about who I speak to, and I like to have. I don't like to be bugged. So if I don't know you personally, or don't know you, through, know you a little bit more than just kind of seeing you here or there, I don't feel comfortable putting it out there.
Yeah, I singled you out because the rest of us, I think he has all of our gamer tags already. We're very open.
He's probably pointing it right at me.
Yeah, Maddie, where are you?
Yeah, I just don't really like to do that sort of thing. I just kind of like to have my little circle of friends and people that I know, and I don't really like, because I don't like to have to go to the point where I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know who the hell that guy is. I used to do stuff like that. Like, I was a little bit more open before when I first got it, where like I would add people that I would play certain games with, but then after a point, I was just like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know them. Whatever, delete. So, sorry.
Yeah, with me, it's now that PS4 has like 2,000 people, it's like, because before I used to be selective because you only had 100 people, right? So I would do certain things like, hey, this person only plays Call of Duty every year, delete. Fuck you. This person hasn't played for 3 months, delete. Now it's like, come on, let's go.
It's the same reason why I wouldn't give out my Skype information, or I would give out. You
don't want to give out your Skype information.
Again, that's I treat it the same way. It's the same reason why I won't give out my Skype information or give out my my AIM information. I just don't want to be, bugged by people that I barely know. I much rather speak to people I do kind of know. I mean, I'm on Twitter. It's okay. You can message me there, but yeah.
For those interested, Manny's home phone number is 555-0231.
I made sure I got a 555 number.
Those are rare.
But yeah, obviously you can find the rest of us. You guys already know me, Romudeath. That's the easiest one to find. And I'm pretty sure I have most of you. But the thing is, some of you guys are named different. Like Killax is named Big Daddy X. I didn't know they were the same guy. I'm like, hey, cool, that's you. I talk to him sometimes. I didn't even know. Right? I know you.
F it all.
Yeah,
that's exactly the reason I don't do that stuff.
No, but I just knew. I knew who was a fan. I'm like, okay, I know it's a fan, but I didn't know it was Killax. So I was like, awesome, it's fucking Killax. Because I know what's his face, Fan of Vash, he's someone else. It's like Tampa Bay. I'm like, dude, you live in fucking Hawaii. Why are you calling yourself Tampa Bay? That makes no sense.
Maybe that's the team he likes.
One thing that I will say, I will friend and play with just about anybody, but if you are one of those party hopping sons of bitches, I will delete you when I am not playing with you. Because I don't need to be watching Netflix and see that you've joined 4 different parties in the last 10 minutes.
You gotta disable that. You gotta disable that shit, because, dude, oh my god, it's so annoying. It's like, dude, I don't care where you go. Stop telling me. You gotta disable that. Here's another one.
I deleted one person. Like, again, back from when the day I used to be a little bit more open with my name. Like, Tony used to be into all the trophy hunter guys, and I had a couple of those trophy hunter guys on my thing. And then some guy recently just started putting all this fucking spam on there. I was like, fuck, who the hell is this guy?
Oh yeah, that gets you instantly deleted on my end, man.
That pisses me off. So I'm like, like they used to have also again like Home. I used to put people on my list. It was part of the She group, for PlayStation Home. And then some of those guys would just get into these modes where they're like, well, if you type this here, you'll get a free shot. That's why I don't do it. That's another reason.
By the way, one of my favorite things is finding out about Brian, because I didn't know you were Killer Pigeon. It's like, I've heard about you for years as Killer Pigeon, but I didn't know that you were, Brian Majo and Killer Pigeon were the same guy. I can remember when Torrance found out, he's like, oh shit, that's you.
Yeah,
it's kind of like unmasking a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh shit, it's the same guy.
Yeah. Well, I'll give mine out to most people. To most people, but at the same time, like, if you're not going to be active and just not do much, then I'll have you on. But if you don't, again, if you're not active for like large amounts of time, like 6 months at least, then I'll just remove you, because hey, space, you know, priorities, people, priorities.
That's pretty generous of you. After 3 months, I delete your ass. Like you're done. You're not playing games. You're done.
Here's something interesting. Did you know that you can actually see the names of people that you haven't chosen to reveal the names of?
Yeah, it's right there.
Usually, okay, you know how it usually goes, where it's like you do a name trade, right? But then they do that little thing on the top of the corner. It's like, hey, do you know blah 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 or blah blah blah, and it literally gives you those people's names.
Okay.
I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. Why do you need to do a name request when that shit is sitting right there on the top for everybody to fucking see?
Yeah, I don't mind my real name being out there, obviously, because I'm a public figure, I guess. So I'm like, yeah, Tony Polanco, whatever. And anytime somebody asks me for my real name, I'm like, here you go. It's yours to take. Don't care. That's what I'm here for. I've got to pimp myself, right? Chris, your gamer tag is very interesting because it's not Lunar Diaries or anything you would figure out. Like,
no, I chose it. A buddy of mine that I used to work with, he suggested it. Because he was like, he used to be like, Chris, you like gravy, man. So he made up more gravy, please, and I just kept it, right? So then I just made everything that name that had to do with gaming, and I almost made my Twitter that too, but I was like, I probably should make the Twitter for that and just put all my gaming shit on there.
You should just make it, more gravy, please. I love that you made it up on a dare, basically.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so there you go. There's our gamer tags, or in our case, PSN IDs. All right, here we go. We're gonna. Oh boy. Do you think the Xbox One will surpass PS4 in the near future? Do you want the long answer or the short answer?
Didn't we just get this question like last week? We literally keep getting the same fucking question, just re-asked in different sorts of ways.
Right, so the short answer is no. The long answer is no. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Too bad we couldn't put a sample of Darth Vader saying that.
No.
Here's the thing. I was actually thinking about this, like, because people keep like, oh yeah, the gap is gonna be close. I'm like, what universe do you live in for that to happen? Then I figured it out. They're only counting American sales. If you count American sales, then yeah, Xbox has a chance of closing that gap. But if you consider worldwide sales, which is the main thing you should consider, that's not going to happen. So it's weird. It's not. Yeah. Go ahead, Brett.
The thing, like, there's no precedent of this kind of lead being taken back in the short term. Like, there's no historical evidence of the market doesn't really shift that fast unless Sony really just fumbles the ball. I mean, most of the time it's been a generational thing. Like, I would normally say that this thing probably isn't going to be fixed until Microsoft puts out another console. Yeah. Until they do some kind of hardware change and really kind of focus on a hardcore demographic instead of a casual demographic, or do a more successful casual demographic grab. But the PlayStation 3 eventually caught up. It took an entire generation cycle that was normal than any console cycle before it, but it still happened within one console generation. So I won't say that it won't happen this generation, but not soon, not for years.
Not if it happens. If it happens, it won't be anytime soon. That's right.
Well, the thing is that, I mean, I think in general, being the second or whatever, gave them more reason to kind of push themselves to do even better things. We wouldn't see the way PlayStation Plus is. We wouldn't see all the other things that we've seen, the new titles and all that stuff, if they weren't as hungry as they were to try to get you in their seat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Sony's wanted it more.
Definitely,
exactly.
Definitely in this point in time, this is Microsoft's time to try to push themselves to do things that they wouldn't normally do either.
Yeah, but look at the MPEs that just came out, for example. For like the third month in a row, even though Xbox is $50 cheaper, people are still buying more PS4s. So that gap ain't going to close anytime soon.
Sony at this point in time has the hold on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, all your buddies are on PlayStation 4.
Yep.
All that stuff. So, I mean, if it came to a question as to which one to buy, it's like, well, my buddy owns that, and I play online games a lot. So
why did Brian buy a PS4? Why did Brian? Because all his buddies are on PS4. Hold on, one last thing. Star Wars, right? That's not a PlayStation exclusive, but it's being billed as one, essentially. People are going to just go to that. Go ahead, Ben. Brett.
I was gonna say that there's one thing, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but hell, I'll say it again. There's one thing coming up that really could change the stakes, and that's that VR is right around the corner. Sony has a very bad history with their Project Morpheus. I have very little faith that they're going to be able to rebrand it and rebuild it at a price point that would be competitive with something like the Oculus Rift. That leaves Microsoft in a very advantageous position that if they really want to underdog and they really want to back what is an emergent technology, if it catches on, they could be sitting pretty. And the key to this is the fact that Microsoft has a lot of technology at their disposal. Most of it is Kinect-based. Right now, there's not a demand for that, so it's a sort of surplus technology just floating around the ether, not being able to actually add to our gaming experience in any way. But the second that Microsoft gets a handle on a quality and affordable, that's the key term right there, affordable VR headset that works in tandem with all of the technology built for Kinect, you have yourself one of the best positional tracker VR headset environments made. Not only will it be able to tell when you turn your head and lean back and forth, but it'll be able to tell where you are in the room, what foreign objects are in the room, how many people, how tall you are, how fast your heart is beating, if you're getting overheated. Like, there's just a wealth of technology that's it has no way to be exploited right now, but VR could open that door.
Here's the thing, though. You're talking about they would have to develop a new technology. How is that going to go with what they're already developing, the AR shit?
The AR shit may actually play into it. If that's what I'm saying. If they can combine the Kinect technology with the augmented reality technology, and if the augmented reality technology can be opaque enough in the things that it makes that it can, if it has the ability to act as a VR headset and an augmented reality headset, just by the opaqueness of the display, that's going to make it very versatile. And they're going to combine that with all the things that you can do with the Kinect, and you're going to have something that's going to provide more than what the Oculus Rift is going to do. And if they can provide more at a similar price point on a hype train that is already building and very possibly could catch on, they could find themselves being the only game in town that really provides an adequate solution to an emergent market. And those kinds of gambles are the things that save companies and put them into the lead.
The thing is that at this point in time, like Microsoft isn't even remotely speaking about anything remotely like considered that's.
Well, yeah, man, you have the AR stuff.
The AR stuff, yeah. But that has nothing to do with the VR stuff. You understand?
That's why I said we don't know enough about
augmented reality and VR are two separate things.
But they're kind of related, though.
They're related, but the thing is that the smart thing about Sony's Morpheus is the fact that anybody who's developing an Oculus Rift game can easily port that game to their system because it's essentially the same thing. The AR unit. What is that? It's not a virtual reality helmet. So
but could it double as one? That's the question.
Yeah. That's speculation. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And that's why I say there's a small avenue that Microsoft, like if they played their cards right and the market went the way that it could, like went the optimal direction, they could find themselves on top again in 2 years.
But the thing is that like I said, the AR unit. It doesn't lend itself well, at least from what we know, doesn't lend itself well to the things that are being currently developed, and that Sony has kind of already started to embrace that thing even before Microsoft has remotely started to talk about it.
Yeah, full on VR, as opposed to the AR stuff. But anyway, to get back to the point, unless there's some kind of Deus Ex Machina like this, maybe in a literal sense, Microsoft ain't catching up like anytime soon. If they do catch up, it's going to be years.
The AR thing is a Nintendo Wii remote. That's what I see that as.
Yeah, exactly. And it very well could have that. I'm just there's a part of me that's saying that if you're going to see a VR arms race, keep in mind that Microsoft already has a lot of supplementary technology in pocket. So if they really committed to an arms race, even starting from a little bit behind, they could potentially fold the things that they already know and they've already developed into that and still win. It just is a question of, are they hungry enough to make that bet? Because it is a huge gamble.
They're gonna have to do something.
It's a gamble.
Here's the thing I always thought was a little bit odd, that Facebook literally bought Oculus, where it would have made more sense that somebody like a Microsoft would have purchased them. Especially seeing the way it kind of, a lot of it is based off of their systems. You know, they use a lot of PC-based stuff to create the games for it. So it's very interesting that they decide. Maybe they were jockeying for it, but I don't know. I mean, I would have seen Oculus being something that Microsoft would have just snagged as soon as possible.
I think Microsoft was riding high when Facebook bought Oculus, so they didn't really think that they needed it because they thought everybody was going to be so impressed with the Kinect that. And probably, we've got a great engineering team, we could always develop something, and they didn't expect it to catch fire the way that it did. So I think by the time that they're like, oh shit, we need this technology, Facebook already owned it, and I don't know what Facebook is going to do with it other than try and get people meeting together in virtual reality to share pictures. I don't
understand what they're trying to do either with the whole VR thing.
They're coming at it from the interpersonal angle. Like, wouldn't it be cool if all of us could sit in a virtual room, and if our viewers could pop on a VR headset and be, the sixth chair in our virtual room, and they could look around and see us talk. And if we had motion capture things, so they would record our face and it would record our movements, and it would cast a perfect replication so that it all seemed like we were sitting around in, I don't know, a 50s diner with retro game machines behind us, having this conversation under, a foggy spotlight. Like, it could be cool, and apparently that's some of the stuff that VR does really well right now is presence, is making you feel like you're somewhere, or, taking spherical pictures and being able to put you in an environment where you're still inside a picture looking around, but everything's frozen Matrix style, and you can kind of dodge around and look at everything. So it's apparently good for presence and immersion, and they're still honestly working out a lot of the gaming kinks. So we know it does that well. So on that level, it makes sense why Facebook grabbed it. But forward-looking logic would not add up.
Yeah, I want to go to the next question because it's kind of related to this. Basically, what are your
the same person?
Yeah, same person collects the last one by him too. What are your thoughts on Project Morpheus PS4 Home, an open world like GTA but less violent? Going back to the interpersonal stuff you were talking about, I think Home just abandoned it. Just stop it.
I think in that aspect, the home environment might work with it. But again, it all really depends on integration with the actual console. If you have to open an application that opens an application that opens an application, essentially a Russian friggin'
nesting dolls,
a Russian nesting doll of a fucking application, no, it will be shit.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could jump into it right away and everything works dynamically, everything works together, then that would be a great environment for that. But you can't just keep on opening it up. You can't keep loading this and going there. It already takes the momentum out of everything.
I also think the default area would need to be, fun. One of the biggest problems with PlayStation Home was that it was a god awful game, no matter how you looked at it. Like the movement was janky, the graphics were terrible. It was non-intuitive. It wasn't fun. You didn't want to spend time there. Like, I didn't care how cool a house I built because I didn't want to drag somebody else into that god-awful user interface through 6 different menus to see, the skeleton of abandoned ideas that PlayStation Home had become. Like, if it worked and it were cool, I would use it. If it weren't, if it worked cool and it weren't a huge pain in my ass, I would totally use it. But maybe Rockstar needs to make it, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe if, like, when you put on Morpheus, maybe you'll have a home-like thing where you interact with other players, but I don't know how they could do it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they can recognize, like, there's at least, like, I want to say Microsoft thing, can, like, recognize your facial gestures and could broadcast those same facial gestures onto an avatar. So when you look shocked, your avatar looks shocked. And the one thing I'll say before I shut up about this is that, between Sims and Second Life, there's a shitload of people that would pay for this. They may not be us, but they're definitely fucking out there.
Yeah, it's just a matter of making it in a way that they like it. Because you're right, if you tap into that market, like look at Second Life, how big that is, it'll blow up.
Imagine, okay, the thing is that, for even though we think of a home as a total and utter failure, Sony was making a shitload of money off of PlayStation Home from all those people on there just buying tchotchkes and shit for their house and their bodies, and their characters,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were making a lot of money too, apparently. All right, so there's Home. Anybody else have any thoughts on Home? I kind of don't feel like talking about it.
I don't know. Home left such a bad taste in my mouth. I really want another version of it. I remember the E3 before the one we went to. Remember they did that big thing? It's like you go into PlayStation Home and you can watch the Sony event. It was like you're sitting in the theater watching it. What a horrible, shitty fucking.
That was bad.
It was so bad. At Home crashed on me like multiple times. It was like just unusable at that point. I was like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's go play friends with games, games with friends on Home. Okay, let's go into Home, wait 5 minutes for it to load, then wait for your buddies to get in, then you load up the game. It's like, that's stupid. It's like,
it was like, yeah, you can launch your game from home. Why would you want to?
Yeah, retarded. All right, let's move on because Gary Swaby has some really good questions for us. Brian, I know you like this first one. I've noticed that every Brit person I've talked to about Fast and Furious 7 didn't like it, but every American I've asked has loved it. Do you think that there's a cultural divide with some movies? If so, which qualities do you believe we're divided on? And yeah, there is a total divide. Now, Brian, you haven't liked it. You liked the series when it was just about cars, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah.
Can I just go back and just take this a step backwards?
Sure.
When Prometheus was coming out, and they released 2 different trailers. For it. There was a UK one and a US one, and the tones of the 2 trailers was so different. It was unbelievable. It's like the US one made it seem like there was a lot more action than it was. I mean, there was explosions, loud music, people running, all excitement. Yet the British one was a lot more toned down. It's a lot more like a story trailer than an action trailer. So it definitely does seem that people from different regions tend to like different things. So I'm not really surprised that most Brits didn't like it because I just didn't enjoy it that much because I felt like the Fast and Furious movies went from a decent idea, which was focused and concentrated on one thing, to just generic action movies with cars and bullshit. And essentially, I see it as nothing better than Michael Bay Transformers now. Just with less advertising, far less obnoxious advertising than Michael Bay ones.
Yeah, it's interesting though because look, this movie's like the 9th highest grossest movie of all time now. And when I went to the theater to see this, and people, Manny, remember back in the day when we were kids, people would clap and stuff after a movie. You don't see that anymore. People got up at this fucking movie yeah, it's fucking great, And that was my first Fast and Furious movie. I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. I love this shit. And then I went back to see all the old movies in order. I liked the first 4 movies were just about cars. I liked them, but to me, I liked them better when The Rock shit came in and just became an action movie. So yeah, I guess it's an American thing. We like big, crazy, loud action movies.
In general, you can see it with games and stuff like that. There are definitely big differences between even just the covers. You take a Legend of Zelda cover from some regions, and the Western ones are always Link's always got his sword out and he's always looking badass. Even the little mini Link looks like a badass, right? But then you take the one from another region, he's just kind of sitting there, and it's like some sort of a little more thought-provoking kind of cover. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, there's that. Remember Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah.
And even Eco? It's totally.
Eco was horrible.
Yeah, the one for the English one, it was this really cool, it was inspired by a painting, right? Very cool looking. And you see the American one, it's just like them. It's it's stupid. But Americans, I don't want to generalize, but yeah, Americans are like meatheads basically. We like big, loud, dumb shit for the most part.
Can I just say that this latest Fast and Furious movie is more American than a stripper-driven Bigfoot full of hot dogs.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, shit.
They're literally jumping cars from the high rise, the high floors of skyscrapers, one skyscraper into another one. You could not distill the idea of how can we take something that we've already turned up to 11 and just crank it to fucking ludicrous?
Pun intended, by the way.
Don't forget that while it's crashing from one building to another building, somebody's shooting it with a rocket launcher to actually propel it further into the building.
Did anyone else just notice, like in that movie, like whenever there's like an action scene, it slows down for no reason at all. Yet everyone else is moving at normal speed. No, I was like, that's not how time works, people.
I love how Vin Diesel is.
Yes, and also Legolas can't defy gravity and jump onto friggin' falling boulders to get up to fight. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I love how Vin Diesel is wearing a white shirt during the entire movie. He gets into like 50 car crashes, and the shirt is always white, no matter what. It's like,
he's like a lotus flower. Dirt cannot cling to him. Okay, in all seriousness,
and then when he falls, then he falls 20 feet from that one thing, then he gets hurt all of a sudden. all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In all seriousness, there's kind of this weird rule that I've run into as I've met more and more storytellers, and it's I don't know how to explain it very well, but the gist of it is, the more awesome something is, the less it has to make sense. If there's an equation where you have to get around a plot hole, you can do it one of two ways. You can either quote unquote hang a lantern on it, which is make a reference to it within the context of the medium. It's have your superhero be like, well, it's awfully convenient that I just happened to find the supervillain there. So the writers are just like, oh, they referenced it. It's not a plot hole now for some reason, and then move along. Or you just make it so unexpectedly, ridiculously awesome that people don't think to ask questions. They're just like, oh man, he drove up a building, without thinking like that's not the way gravity works. And I think that's
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I think that's a divide between the American public and the British public, is that the British public is a little bit more cynical, whereas the American public is
a little
just
bit
like,
more, Brits, really.
Yeah, a lot more.
British.
American public is just kind of like, they're like enthusiastic, so like they don't care as long as they can be like, fuck yeah. So I think when you turn a more critical eye towards something like Furious 7, like it starts to fall apart. Like you can't look at it with.
But it's not supposed to hold up. That's the thing.
It's not supposed
you can't look at it like a cynic. You just got to throw your hands up and fucking go along for the ride and be like, yeah, sure, gravity works that way, whatever.
I think even if you look at films like friggin' Rambo, you go back to that too. Like it's a fun film, but at the same time, it's not supposed to be there to stand up to scrutiny. A friggin' bow and arrow cannot blow up a hut.
That was awesome. Right? Don't think about it too much.
Well, right, but even Rambo, the pacing of Rambo versus Furious 7 is completely different. Furious 7 is moving at 10,000 miles a second.
It's going at a furious pace.
Yeah, Rambo actually had some sort of story thrown in there, and there were slow moments where he had feelings and stuff.
No, there was 5 minutes. There was 5 minutes of dialogue in Furious 7. Everything else was just action.
Yeah, the only feeling was adrenaline, like The Rock busting out of his cast and picking up a giant chain gun to shoot down a fucking helicopter. The only thing you need to feel is, like Brett said, fuck yeah. That's the only feelings.
That's the only feeling you have, and it was fantastic, man. But yeah, it's a very different thing. I always think about it like this: like if you have two guys sitting in a room, right? One guy represents America, and one guy represents Britain, right? The British guy, he'll like, hey, what's your best quality, right? And he'll tell you, he'll wax philosophical about all the accomplishments. The American guy, he'll get up after the British guy said all this eloquent shit. Oh yeah, but can you kick my ass? Like, that's America for you, basically. Oh man, we're simple. We're simple.
Brian, I would. There's actually a great little Deadpool comic where Deadpool switches personalities with Captain Britain. Not switches personalities, switches cultures. So it turns Deadpool British and it turns Captain Britain American, and it's fucking hilarious. It's one of my favorite Deadpool bits ever. I highly recommend you find it somewhere and read it, because it's in a nutshell everything that we're talking about. Because Captain Britain goes from being like kind of stoic and quiet to just the world's biggest fucking cowboy. Just like running in, blowing stuff up, screaming, kicking people in the stomach. And Deadpool starts apologizing for everything, second-guessing everything he does, and shows up with a pipe, and then at one point, like, in armor on a horse.
All right, let's move on. This next question is really good. Do you ever feel embarrassed about telling fellow adults that you read comics or play games?
Nope.
Nope. This is my life, baby. That no shame at all.
Number one, it's actually become a lot easier nowadays.
Oh yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, it was a little bit more like taboo.
Yeah, nowadays
it's like, oh, you play video games, you read comic books, grow up, and they're telling you this at like 16.
But going back to culture, remember Gary is British. Other British people around him may not like it as much. But we'll get to Brian's question.
So that they come in, they're like, yeah, you're playing those video games again. How are you doing?
I didn't care as a kid either. I told people I played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid. I didn't give a shit.
Same here.
I just say, you know what? If you don't like the show, change the channel. If you don't like what I'm into, fuck off. That's my philosophy.
Perfect.
America.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, get in here. You notice anything like that? Maybe Gary. Maybe it's the cultural thing. I don't know.
Again, like my line of work is very different. Like my line of work is like the non-average line of work. Like I'm an iOS developer, so I make iOS apps for mobile devices and stuff like that. So I'm not really with the quote unquote normal people.
Yeah, that is true.
Like my sect, like most people I've talked to, they play video games on like a daily basis. So it's not really something I've come across. But generally, in normal conversations, I tend not to bring it up because it's just, I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I just don't bring up. But again, I don't really bring up much things in conversations in general. Do I feel ashamed? No, like shit. It's like watching a movie. It's like there's no point of being embarrassed about it. Like you play video games, like shit. Like I talk about Ultron to all my friends down here. It's like they know that I'm waiting for Age of Ultron like crazy, and they know that hey, I play GTA like some nights I don't. So I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. Like I can't really speak for the general public because again, I'm not in a general public type work environment. So
yeah, I don't know where Gary works. I think he's around more, I guess, normal people. So because remember, Gary wrote an editorial about all this a few months ago. Like he was like, it's long ago. Like I'm an adult gamer, and I guess shit about it sometimes. And at the end of it, he was like, I don't care. I'm going to keep on playing games. But he said it is annoying that people are constantly telling him like, why are you playing games? Why are you playing games? But I guess what we do here, Brett, I'm guessing you too. You don't really get that much shit for it.
You're talking to a guy who has tattoos on most of his body.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, seriously. Okay, you know what this guy's all about.
Brett, you need to grow up.
There, you look at this guy. Brett, we already know your answer, but go ahead.
No, I don't give a fuck, which is weird because, especially when I started tattooing, I got ridiculously judged by it. And so I didn't talk about it that much, but if you kind of got me going, I'd get really enthused. And because of that, over the last 10 years, I've accrued a clientele of mostly nerds. Like, I'll have people come in and be like, I want a link tag. Like, I have somebody who came in, they're like, I want a badass Vegeta tattoo. And I'm like, oh, can we make the front of them all monochrome, firing a Gatling gun, all, fire and electricity, Super Saiyan 2 with, the M across his head? And he's like, yes, whatever, just do it. Awesome, go for it. And so now I have, other tattoo artists just like, why do you get to do all this cool shit? Because I supported it when it wasn't cool.
Motherfuckers. That's right.
Also, I think also, especially with the way tattooing works, it's public but also very personal. And I feel like if you have a somewhat kindred connection, especially if you're getting something on your, something that's meaningful to you on your arm or on your body, you kind of want to have a bit of rapport with the person who's actually doing it. That's at least the way I see it.
Yeah, and enthusiasm. It's
exactly.
If somebody likes Studio Ghibli, then they'd be cool to do a Studio Ghibli tattoo, as opposed to somebody who doesn't even know it. There's a lot that they're not going to miss, or they're not going to catch, especially if they're not the best artist in the world. They're not going to really understand the way that the Studio Ghibli does the line weights, the way that they do their faces. Yeah. And a rough approximation it isn't good enough. You got to have a little love for what you're doing, and if not that, you got to replace that with a lot of fucking research.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess all answers are unanimous. Let's go to the final question, Gary. Oh man, let me read this exactly. I'm going to get this just right. Which do you think will be the better movie? Age of Ultron or Star Wars? Yeah. Gary, what did you do?
God damn it, man.
You're asking about two Disney properties.
By the way, Manny, I'm glad you bring it up because Disney doesn't care. They're going to make money.
They don't care.
So Disney are going to make more money somehow. Like,
yes.
Are Disney becoming like EA now or something? Because Jesus Christ.
By the way, I need to throw this in here. Disney stock went up $2 billion after they released that trailer 2 days ago.
All I know is about at least Disney at this point. They seem to be getting the right people to control the things that they're supposed to be controlling. All the same Marvel people are still controlling. They're still doing the same awesome stuff they were doing before Disney got them.
Yeah,
that's good. Keep it that way. Once before any Eisner days, Eisner was always sticking his nose into places where it didn't belong. Making people do things that they shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't need that shit, man.
And granted, Eisner was the guy who greenlit Indiana Jones, but I'm glad that they're at least letting these guys the creative people do what they do.
I have another question about this, but let's answer this one. I don't know how to answer. Manny, what do you think?
Which I would think better.
The question will be, which will be a better movie?
I don't know.
Makes sense.
I can't say. I mean, it's like apples and oranges. I would say a better combination would be like Dawn of Justice or Age of Ultron. At least there's superhero films.
Oh, that's
an easy one.
Compare those two.
But have Star Wars. I mean, yes, there's a lot of crossover, but then there isn't a lot of crossover. As far as fans and stuff go. So it's very objective. So I can't actually answer this question.
I think Gary just threw us the unanswerable question.
Well, it's like what the Doctor's real name is.
Yeah, who knows? Go ahead, Brett.
Brett, I thought it was Josh Whedon who's directing.
Is it
Avengers? Okay. Yeah. Josh Whedon's directing Avengers.
Then I'm gonna go with Star Wars.
Oh shit! Because you don't like Whedon.
No, it's because Whedon is hit and miss, and I think J.J. Abrams really like we just got done talking about who wants it more, who's got something to prove. Like J.J. Abrams has been handed a huge project that's going to make or break his career. He's going to work.
His career's already big, though. What are you talking about?
No, his career bought him this ticket. If he fucks this up, he's done.
Ooh.
He has to know that. He's built a fan base, and then he's gambling it all on this. And this is the first.
I have a side question. Do you think this movie, even if it's bad, will fail? I mean, we had 3 Star Wars movies in a row that were bad, and they blew up.
It'll succeed no matter what. But it's not. We're not gambling box office sales. In my opinion, we're gambling kind of a career. Joss Whedon has a very kind of lackadaisical, like, if everything works, it works. He gives other people control, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's not. I generally can't tell you 2 consecutive Joss Whedon projects that have blown me away, and so I would just say that everybody knows that the last 3 Star Wars movies kind of sucked, and everybody is really kind of waiting with bated breath. So there's a lot riding on this new Star Wars, and for a lot of fans, this could be the first quote-unquote like real Star Wars movie in 30 years. So you can expect this to be a huge love letter to the franchise. So I just think, with the material that they're working with and the amount that the people playing it really seem to care, I think objectively Star Wars will be a better movie. I think Age of Ultron will be awesome and it will be fun. I also think it'll be a sequel.
Yeah, well, Star Wars is technically a sequel too. But it isn't. I don't know. It's weird. Here's the other question I have. I can't answer this either. Which one's going to make more money?
I'll tell you who's going to make more money. Disney.
Yeah. They're just getting it in stereo. Disney getting all sides.
More than both of those monies because both of those things.
You know what's crazy? Like I went into Toys R Us down here the other day, and they have already. Disney has bought up aisles for like Star Wars. There's like Star Wars aisles, not just like a side of an aisle, but aisles of.
Isn't the Star Wars and the Marvel aisle in the same aisle?
No, they have whole aisles for Marvel and whole aisles for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Together, and like even Disney Infinity has its own aisle. They went all out. Like They're just
okay.
They know they're gonna make money.
Answer me this too. Like Star Wars has historically shown to be a pretty long-lasting brand when it's done well. Like after Episode 1, like nobody wanted to buy those fucking pod racer fucking action.
The Jar Jar Binks toys.
Yeah, but for the most part, like Star Wars has a pretty slow burn. If you do it right, people will keep watching it and they'll keep buying toys and they'll keep dressing up in the fucking Halloween costume. So I think that's a little bit more incentive to do it right. Where normally a lot of box office movies are like whatever, just sell as many first weekend tickets as you can, and we'll worry about the rest after we make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's true. I see what you're saying about Joss Whedon, because now he's like, okay, I just got to follow it up. And J.J. Abrams is like, oh my God, this is Star Wars, man. I can't wait.
Well, that's what he always wanted.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Josh is dealing with the Marvel community. Like, if he follows up with the movie, he'll be hated for life. Like we finally have a good adaptation of superheroes that's not a brooding mess. And like
Joss Whedon doesn't care.
It's not a brooding
If Joss Whedon cared, he would have brought back Firefly. If Joss Whedon cared, he would have done one of the innumerable things that his fans asked him to do. If Joss Whedon cared, he wouldn't blatantly practice nepotism. Joss Whedon doesn't care. He just likes money.
Well, yeah, but he's not entirely in control of Avengers. Like, there's people, I'm sure, challenging him while he's making this movie. Like, he's not a George Lucas. He's not, like, sitting on a throne, just whatever he says goes and that's it,
No, this is true. And that's why I'm not, despite what it sounds like, I think the new Avengers will be a great movie. I think he's hit his stride and is doing some of the best work of his career. I think Star Wars wants it more. At least for the first one. I can't make any statement on whether the second Star Wars movie will be as good as the first, but there's so much riding on this one that a lot of people, myself included, is like, this is the first real Star Wars movie in like 30 years.
Right.
Hopefully.
Well, there's too many factors, and it's all subjective. Like, to me, I'm not really a Star Wars fan, so to me, I'm looking forward to Age of Ultron, and I don't give a shit about Star Wars. So, to me, if you ask me, I would be like, yeah, Age of Ultron, of course, because I'm a big Marvel fan, and I want to see the Hulk punching Iron Man through a building.
Yes.
That, to me, is more exciting than seeing the Millennium Falcon on a TIE fighter flying through a wrecked ship in the desert.
I'll watch Age of Ultron more. I can tell you that right now. I will watch that movie more times in a 6-month span than I will watch Star Wars, for what that's worth. I'm trying to be critically objective in like what movie do I think will be better made, better written, better produced, better acted.
Yeah. If you ask me who the better director is, I would say Abrams. Right? I would just say Abrams right off the bat, but I don't know. Like, there's just so much going on with both movies. I don't know.
I haven't seen enough Abrams property stuff to really get a good grasp on how good he is, so I can't comment on that. But overall, like objectively, which one will be better?
Yeah, that's the question right there. It's a hard one.
I guess Star Wars would be better because it won't have to deal with any of the shit. Because is Star Wars an adaptation of any material, or is it just an expansion?
No.
Expansion. It's a sequel to Return of the Jedi, basically.
Yeah.
If it's an expansion, then it has a lot more leeway with what it can do, whereas with the Avengers, it's more of an adaptation, kind of. So it's more restricted by the source material.
To an extent, yes. That's true.
Well, I mean, here's the thing with Avengers. We know what we're getting with Avengers because the movie universe is already established, right? So we know it's just following that story. We know the end game is Infinity Gauntlet, where like every fan knows where this is going, right? And we know the battles that are coming up. With Star Wars, there was an expanded universe. There were people with tons of expectations for where the future of Luke and Leia and Han Solo and all these people were going. That has now been thrown away, and now this movie is supplanted in its place, right? So there's going to be huge expectations for this movie, and if it doesn't follow what fans were thinking was going to happen with the future of all these characters, there's going to be hell to pay. So I think that there's a lot more that Star Wars could do wrong. There's a lot more where J.J. Abrams could go wrong, where there's expectations of the expanded universe and the future of these characters versus Avengers, where we know where it's going.
Isn't the story that they're going off of one of the established novel stories that's being heavily rewritten?
No, remember what they said. They're getting rid of all the expanded universe stuff.
They're actually, they redacted that. They're getting rid of the expanded universe that doesn't that doesn't work. Like, in other words, it doesn't have any heft over the movies, but they still exist.
Yeah, they still exist. Okay, all the stuff that took place within the main movies does, but they said all the stuff, the Thrawn trilogy or whatever it's called, it's not based on that. It's completely new from scratch.
Yeah, I think, well, a lot of the books, like, in the books they killed Chewbacca.
Yeah, they did. Here's the thing, going off what Chris said, Avengers is the safe bet. We know what we're going to get. Star Wars is the unknown. However, Star Wars has the potential to be better than Avengers. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
I think that's a good summation. We know Avengers is going to be an awesome movie. Like, you really can't. Like, you've got Hulkbuster armor. Like, it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, you're going to go in there, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're like, this is going to be good. When you go to the Star Wars, you'll be like, what am I going to get here?
I'm actually expecting the second Avengers to be better than the first one, because the plot line of the first one was a little all over the place.
It was laughably bad towards the end. Like, I was honestly just laughing when they did the Staff Ex Machina stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just me. Like, yeah, the Staff Ex Machina was kind of like, really, guys? Like, you pulled this out your ass? Like, no. But,
Well,
it's a really tough question.
All I'll say is, like, with Avengers, like, I know I'm going to get action. I know there's going to be story and exposition, all that stuff, but it's going to lead somewhere. If I walk into Star Wars and people are sitting in a room and there's reverse shot of people talking about the Sith or some bullshit, I'm walking out of the theater because I've seen that already.
You don't want to see anything about trade disputes.
Yeah,
no more Senate meetings.
And racist fucking aliens, I'm out. I'm done.
let's not do a whole movie of fucking Senate meetings and setup. Like, please, for the love of God.
All right.
So wait,
have you seen that on the trailers of Star Wars?
Yes.
Like the first trilogy, yeah. All the walking and talking, the sitting and talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And talking.
Yeah, I mean, I know Abrams is using like real shots and stuff, but if there's a lot of walking and talking and not a lot of like pew 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 and the stuff we were shown in the trailers, like, I'm done.
Speaking of something interesting, Lucas actually said that he is absolutely not interested in sci-fi movies, and he literally panned the industry for creating more movies that are more about effects and stuff than substance, like story.
That is funny, considering he made the most CG-heavy movies ever.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's the black hole calling the teapot black.
Yes. He said, and it was during one of the film, I think the Cannes Film Festival or something like that. He was saying that was sitting with Robert Redford and said this, and it's like, dude, as soon as he said this, literally the audience chuckled.
Yeah,
it's like, are you that delusional?
Let me get this straight. So this is coming from the guy who decided, hey, let me not cast a bunch of random dudes and put them in stormtrooper outfits. Let me have CG stormtroopers.
Well, the thing that's that's the thing. It's like it probably. It's definitely the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have one real set in all the trilogies.
Yeah,
meanwhile, it kind of steadily
building sets. He's having miniatures. He's having all this shit.
They steadily got less sets. Like, there were still sets in them. Like,
there was green sets and blue sets.
No, I mean, they still had sets.
What, like a couch?
No, I mean, like in the Emperor, they actually built the Emperor's office. The Emperor's office was a real set. It just had blue screens on the outside. Like, he's talking about
by the time they got to Revenge of the Sith, that's when it was like no sets.
Yeah, well, Revenge of the Sith still had some sets. Like, in other words,
Phantom. I almost said Pain. Phantom Menace still had some kind of sets.
They still had sets. They still went on location. He still went on location. Like those, like the Naboo Queen Amidala's castle was actually a place in Italy. The place that they went to in the second movie, that big, it looked like a giant lake. That's actually a real place too. So it wasn't all CG.
Yeah, but he still faked stuff around it. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, he still felt the need to add like a futuristic ship or something to it.
Just look at the first 15 minutes of Revenge of the Sith. Or what was the last movie?
Revenge of the Sith.
The giant space battle orgy that's happening that you don't know what the fuck is going on. It's like, what is happening? It looks like a video game war happening. It was meaningless to the movie. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. I want to move on to the next question. So this one's pretty involved. All right. My man Black Star. Okay, I woke up at like 3 a.m. with this on my mind. I might be going crazy, but bear with me. I got a weird question. Imagine if these actors had split personalities and them battling for control, and each personality was a character they played in the past. Who would win? Okay, here's the first one. John Matrix or Dutch? John Matrix from Commando or Dutch from Predator? Who would win in that fight?
Shit.
I'm
gonna go with Max Matrix because he's.
I would say Dutch. Because that guy was a survivor.
Yeah, like the thing is like
same guy, by the way.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm gonna go with Max Matrix, John Matrix, because he killed like an entire army, like nothing, like
just to rescue his daughter. He killed
but
and he threw a pipe through a guy. He threw a pipe through a guy, man.
Let's just say that Dutch also did the same thing. He murdered an army.
And he had his boys. Yeah, he killed a predator, but he outsmarted. Remember that the predator was about to kill him. Predator had him on the ropes.
And Dutch didn't murder an army by himself. He had a squad of guys. John Matrix did this by himself. He went to an island on a raft with guns and killed everyone.
With Ray Dong Chan.
Yep.
No, he didn't go, he just flew the plane. By the time he got to the island, he was alone, and he killed everyone. I'd probably say John Matrix.
I'm going with John Matrix.
Brian for the tiebreaker.
Oh, Brett, you no saying this?
Oh no, I said Dutch.
Okay, you said Dutch. Okay,
Really?
Okay, there you go, Brian. You're the tiebreaker.
Ultron.
Did you just say Voltron?
Ultron.
Voltron would beat them all?
No, Ultron.
I know.
I'm way too young to have seen these movies. Even though I've seen Predator, but not Commando. I love Predator, but I haven't seen Commando to make a real judgment. So I honestly can't make a decision here.
Actually, it'll be his character from Jingle All the Way. That one will win.
I mean, we're not talking about a fight. We're talking about battling for control of the psyche, right? Like,
yeah. So Arnold will wake up and he'd either be Dutch Schaefer or John Matrix.
Yeah, that's why I say Dutch. Like Dutch has a will that I think exceeds John Matrix. Like John Matrix gets shit done, but Dutch will not fucking die. Like he's got the anime will to him. He won't die because he doesn't want to die.
Well, I guess you want to be ending John Matrix because post-ending, Dutch Schaefer. At the end of Predator, Dutch Schaefer looked like a vegetable. He was just in the helicopter, his jaw was hanging open. He looked like he didn't want to live anymore, even though he fought to live. He's like, okay, I'm done. I'm good, guys.
Okay, I'd say the T-1000. The T-1000 or T-100?
The T-800?
Yeah, T-800.
That's the one.
All right, I guess we won't settle this one. All right, next one. Here, okay, Neville Flynn from Snakes on a Plane, Samuel L. Jackson, or John Shaft from Shaft. I'm gonna go with Shaft because he's the baddest motherfucker out there.
Yeah, can you get more badass motherfucker than Shaft?
You can't. You know.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, why wasn't that an option?
Yeah, that's what he gave us. So we got to go with what he said.
Well, I mean,
Fury
Shaft and Nick Fury are the same character.
It's true.
Come on, just take him. Just add an eye patch to Shaft, and what do you get?
You get Nick Fury.
You get Nick Fury.
I'll just say Shaft then.
Yeah, Shaft.
I'll say Shaft.
All right. The next one. This is the last one. This one's the longest one because there's 4 of them. Okay.
Wow! Holy shit! Why does Keanu Reeves get 4?
I don't know.
I mean, these other guys have had other characters. Like, why couldn't Sam Jackson have the dude he played from Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but with Keanu Reeves, he gave us 4. Okay, Ted Theodore Logan, Jack Traven, John Wick, and Kai.
I'll just say I think it's John Wick because Jack Traven, Ted, and Kai are all just Ted. So
they're all Ted.
I'll pick John Wick.
I'm gonna go with John Wick too, even though I've never seen the movie.
With John Wick.
All right, John Wick it is then.
I'm surprised that Neo wasn't in there.
I want to say Ted, but I'm gonna go John Wick.
Why wasn't Neo in there?
Yeah, Neo was not in there. Weird.
But I guess this is his dream. So
yes, it's his dream. It's his dream. All right. And the last question from Black Star: which comic book would you like to see Netflix do next? Doesn't have to be DC or Marvel or superheroes. I want to see the Punisher. After seeing their government, Punisher.
I would like to see. I would like to see a Hellboy series.
Ooh.
I would think that would be a lot of fun. It'd be a little like X-Files but with a monster.
By the way, I personally gave myself a stipulation. It has to be a show that they could actually like do well. Because my first thought was Invincible, but they can't do that on a TV budget. So I went with something they can do on a TV budget. The Punisher.
But even Netflix budget? I mean, they seem to
Netflix has a better budget than most.
Yeah, than most TVs. Yeah.
I don't know. Invincible is like a full-on like.
I know. Yeah, he's flying around, and there need to be tons of special effects for Invincible.
Yeah. But yeah, or disregard the one with sticky fingers. Blade would be cool too.
Didn't they try that?
They did. That's why I said disregard that.
Oh, disregard
the one with sticky fingers from Onyx. Disregard that one. So I'm gonna go with those two. Just something that I know they could film, and it'll be okay.
I'm gonna ask this question. Why the fuck did they get sticky fingers with his crossed eyes?
That's why you got glasses on, even at night.
No, man, it's like, the minute he took off his glasses, it literally killed that series.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, man.
Oh, man. Manny, since you're talking, what series would you like?
Like I said, Hellboy.
Well, Hellboy, that's right.
Hellboy.
Manny, I have another question for you. Can Hellboy be done well on television?
I think Hellboy could be done on television. I mean, the thing is that it doesn't actually, and also the fun thing about Hellboy is it doesn't actually need to follow any sort of direct stories. In other words, you can make up a monster of the week, something like that, and still make it interesting. So I would say Hellboy. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I would like it if they picked up Constantine. Pours one out, by the way. They canceled it. Boo.
Oh yeah, that's a shame right there.
Really,
yeah, Constantine, that'd be great.
Yeah,
they could pick that shit up.
Be awesome. Chris.
I had a ton of ideas rattling around in my head, because when he said it doesn't have to be DC or Marvel, for some reason I thought of Savage Dragon.
Oh, nice.
Top show with a dragon. Again, that's a little more simpler than a Hellboy series. It's just a guy in a green who's painted green with a fin on his head.
And his comic was brutal.
Chris, did you like the Savage Dragon cartoon? Remember that?
Oh no, I remember that.
The intro was awesome to that.
The Malibu animations, they had fun intros and stuff, and they had the spirit of the comic, but they didn't follow through at all. They just kept it safe. Like Nightman, they did Nightman. They even made a live action Nightman. It was terrible.
What did he drive around? He was driving around a fancy car.
A Plymouth Prowler.
Yeah, that's what he was driving.
Yeah, it was purple. It's like, God, that was an ugly car.
I'm so inconspicuous in my Plymouth Prowler.
Yeah, and they always showed him playing jazz music because that was his day job. Remember, he was a musician. I was like, what?
Or even the Witchblade.
Oh my God, the TNT version of Witchblade. I was like,
that was bad. All right.
That lasted for a long time too.
Yeah.
But actually, what I would like is the question.
Ooh.
I would like a question series because I would think, I love X-Files and that stuff and conspiracy shit. I think that would be a great character if you could get that right, make a series.
Oh, I just had another one.
You'd have to get somebody who'd be cool with having their face covered 90% of the series.
Yeah.
I just had another one, and I think Brett will like me for this one. Why the Last Man? You could definitely make that into a TV series. That'll work. No, you don't need a crazy budget for that.
I don't know.
I thought you liked Why the Last Man.
I do like Why the Last Man. I just don't know if I trust them to adapt it into a TV show that's not going to be like fucking Revolution or The Walking Dead.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, The Walking Dead this season's been okay because it's following the comic books. So as long as they follow the comic books, it'll be okay.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm kind of done. I like post-apocalyptic stuff, but I'm done with this Last of Us rustic. Everybody's wearing flannel kind of post-apocalyptic thing.
It's time for Thunder the Barbarian.
Yeah. Let's start. I'm ready for fucking Thunderdome. I'm ready for Fallout. I'm ready for 100 years after the collapse of civilization. I'm ready for a fresh take on by all means, feel free to destroy the world in your pretense or origin or whatever you want. Just make it interesting. it just seems like it works really well in a comic book, but I feel like I would get bored as shit watching these people talk in a TV show unless there was some really compelling acting.
Carl, you gotta wear some flannel just like me.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta grow a beard.
Brett is ready for somebody to be wearing armor made out of the ribs of his enemies.
Yes.
And old car tires, yes.
Yeah, and hubcaps for shoulder pads. It's like, where's that? There's nobody making flannel anymore. You got to be creative.
Exactly. So, Brett, what's your answer then? Uh-oh. You need time to come back.
No. I would like to see, what is it, Marvel Knights?
Which one?
I'd like to see all of them.
Okay, so Punisher would be in part of that, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be Punisher, it'd be Ghost Rider, it'd be Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
And who else would be in that? There's one person. Blade,
yes.
Moon Knight in the suit? In the three-piece suit?
Yeah. Moon Knight in the white three-piece suit. Like that would be cool. But most specifically, if I had to pick one out of them, I want to see a Ghost Rider movie an adaptation of Ghost Rider that doesn't suck. They did it with Daredevil. I think they can do it with Ghost Rider. And if you're talking like adult, kind of gritty, mature, like Ghost Rider, man, come on, let's beat some people to death with chains.
You know what? You could also do the what was it, the other Defenders, the ones that were all monsters. It was Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, and Morpheus.
I know you're talking about. They're not the Defenders. They're I'm forgetting the name. The Sons of Satan or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Like literally take those guys.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a hell of a budget though. Have a flaming guy with a flaming head.
You have you literally have a guy who has a head for a special effect. You have another guy who's essentially a makeup effect, who's a werewolf. Yeah. And then you have who was the third guy? Oh, it was Morbius. He's a vampire.
Morbius.
He just needs to be pale. So
yeah,
save money there.
I'd really like to see them, we've seen so many, I won't kill, I won't cross that line. I'd like to see somebody who gleefully is like, yeah, I smashed his head like a goddamn pumpkin.
Well, that's Punisher, man.
That's why I'm saying, Marvel Knights would be great because it's a whole group of, so what happened to that guy? Oh, I beat his head in with a crowbar. Cool.
By the way, it was Manny, Spirits of Vengeance. That was the name.
Spirits of Vengeance.
There we go. That'd be cool. All right, Brian.
It's not revenge. It's punishment.
Yes. All right, Brian. What's your answer?
I can't believe you guys missed the obvious Batman.
Batman.
I don't know
Batman.
No, I mean seriously. I'm not a big fan of Batman movies.
I would absolutely love a Batman TV series because we already have it. We have Gotham. We have Arrow. Just combine them and make Batman.
Yeah. They already made a great Batman TV series. It was animated.
Yeah, the animated series was fantastic. But I get where Brian's coming from.
Yeah, I
was just thinking differently.
I just feel like we have a lot of we have an actual Batman where he actually acts like a detective instead of a guy who either pulls a lot of shit out of his belt or blows everything up and kills people.
Yeah, I'd like to see more than a punching bag with pointy ears.
You have each arc is each small arc is 2 episodes, the setup side, then the payoff. Like they did with the Justice League limited ones. You start off, he's there, something happens, he starts detecting, gets into a fight, ends the first one. Second one, picks up from the fight, maybe loses, maybe wins, regains himself, redetects, finds out what's going on, boom, the end. I think
no freaking detective mode. I'm sorry.
No, he should have a Sherlock Holmes type of thinking, like the Robert Downey Jr. movies. I kind of liked how he analyzed stuff, but not using a gadget that's telling him where all the clues are. He's figuring it out.
That's part of his that's what makes him Batman, is he's supposed to be a modern day Sherlock Holmes.
I'm glad. I know in Arkham they kind of used that visual representation of his detective vision, which it's probably one of the only ways you could do that in kind of an action-y type of game. Yeah. But in video game, essentially making a visual representation of him detecting things. But I mean, he does more detecting than he does than he did in any of the movies in those games.
That is true. He did do more detectiving. All right.
Especially when you're trying to find Deadshot.
Yo, man. Yeah, that was crazy.
You're trying to figure out the angle of the bullet.
Yeah,
that
was
cool. The bullet went through
All
here.
Right, let us move on. My man Roman Ronin. I really liked Edge of Tomorrow and was surprised to find out it was inspired by a manga. With that being said, With that being said, which anime series would transition better to an American film or series? Psycho Pass or Sword Art Online?
Number one, the thing is that you would never think that Edge of Tomorrow would ever have been made into a friggin' American movie ever. Especially looking at the original content for which was All You Need Is Kill. Oh my God, that thing is like they're running around in mechs and all kinds of other stuff. That really isn't something that you put into an American film, which I'm surprised that they put as much as they did into the film as they did. What was it? Kill la Kill and what?
No, Psycho Pass or Sword Art Online. I'm gonna go with Psycho Pass because that's the lower budget one you can make.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, Sword Art Online is just like kind of a weird, convoluted Lord of the Rings. Like in other words, it's like, hey, we're in a computer, so it's just Lord of the Rings.
I felt it was more like Matrix.
It's more like the Matrix,
but it's medieval Matrix though. It's like essentially, it's like you jack into the computer and all of a sudden you're in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Except when you blow somebody up, they blow up into like, numbers or whatever the hell they used
kind
to do.
of like it was definitely high fantasy. Like even like the design and the armor and everything like that. Like it was that classic. Like it pointed out a lot of cliches that like you can only have armor on your shoulders, but somehow you get armor everywhere else. And so like I personally think that Sword Art Online would have a lot of really great, if it was written well, like almost Avengers-esque, like self-referential, funny moments. So there could be moments of levity in there. Also, if there is one movie to just go balls out, explosions and special effects, and you don't care if it looks fake or looks like a video game because it is a video game, that would be Sword Art Online. Like I could see seeing scenes in that would be pretty much right out of.
Brett, I'm glad you said that. Actually, I need to jump in real quick. Okay, as a TV series, Psycho Pass because it's a criminal procedural basically. Movie, Sword Art Online would make a better movie than Psycho Pass. So yeah,
I also feel that they would make. I still would feel they would make that other series has more of a chance of making that other series rather than Sword Art Online, just because of the kind of insanity that is Sword Art Online.
Yeah, I mean, Psycho Pass is crazy.
It doesn't seem very. The other thing is that it definitely doesn't.
But Psycho Pass is I forget the name of the movie now.
It's like Minority Report.
Report, so it can be done, and done well.
Like I said, I see that at least for me, I at least see the possibility of the other show happening than a Sword Art Online.
Oh yeah, possibility, absolutely. I could see. I would love. I just want to see Sword Art Online made as a movie because it sounds like Sucker Punch that would actually have a story. Like you could do all these like crazy, just obviously anime inspired trick shots and design choices, and just go way the fuck over the top with it, but actually have somewhat of a story there that pins it up, as opposed to because. Too many of those visual-based movies are built on nothing. So I'd like to see one that has it's the same way I really want to see Ready Player One made into a movie. Like it can be over the top, it can be crazy, it's the same line that Scott Pilgrim kind of toes.
I'm surprised with that Ready Player One that they're trying to get, or they got Steven Spielberg to do it.
I'm really surprised, but I think Steven Spielberg is just like, I need to do something relevant.
I almost feel like they really should have gotten the dude who did Scott Pilgrim to do that.
Yeah, I do too. I'm really disappointed, but I am hoping that Steven Spielberg is going to use this as an opportunity to show that he can keep up with some of these young directors and still do cool stuff.
And there's also a weird meta thing about that too, because Steven Spielberg himself appears in Ready Player One.
Oh yeah.
It's weird, and there's a lot of references to his films in that movie. I mean, in that book.
Maybe that's why they decided to pick him.
Because
they kind of want to. Maybe they're going for kind of a retro feel, like they want to capture because he was iconic when we were growing up, and when a lot of that book is kind of making reference to. So maybe he wants to pull in some of that retro classic Steven Spielberg-esque feel when they're referencing it. Hopefully he'll be flexible and adaptive enough to take some cues from some more modern directors, and not make it so fucking washed out and serious.
Yeah, man. But anyway, getting back to the thing, I'm gonna throw in my hat. Another one would be good because you can easily make it, and I know it has a Japanese live action version, but Death Note, you can make that into a TV series or a movie as well, easily.
I would say Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue is another one, easily. No real special effects at all. Because the crazy shit like Dragon Ball Z, you can't. We tried that in live action, and you saw what happened. So none of that shonen stuff.
They made an amazing Dragon Ball Z movie. It was called Superman.
Yeah, it's true.
The Man of Steel.
But anyway, I guess go ahead, Chris.
I think you could make Samurai Champloo into a live action thing. It'd be a period thing, but you could do it.
You could do that. You could definitely do that.
But the American version would have one of the characters be a white guy.
Yeah, of course. Mugen would be a white dude.
He'd be a white dude. He'd be Keanu Reeves.
Oh God! Ruined. It's Ted.
Here's a question: could they make Full Metal into a live action?
They could do a movie, but
yeah,
it's a lot of nuance.
It would have to be like three. It would have to be like 3 movies or something, like a trilogy. But
how do you distill that into a movie?
You have to cut so much.
Well, I mean, I meant more. Could you make it live action?
Yeah, you can make it live action. It's just you have to cut a lot. You have to cut a lot of shit out. Like a 3-hour, like 3-hour movies essentially.
Yeah, I know they're making Attack on Titan into a live action movie, and I don't know about that.
Yeah, you saw that trailer. I don't know, man. I don't know.
They're all Japanese now.
Yeah, they're all Japanese. I guess Japanese are not rare anymore, like they were in the books. Anyway, Brett, answer. Any other series you want to see adapted?
I'd like to see Ergo Proxy turned into a live action.
No, I don't know that one.
That's the one with the witch lady.
There's a lot of witch ladies in anime. You got to be more.
Well, this one was a little more. It's like it's weird. It's fantasy and like fantasy stuff and sci-fi. Kind of. It like takes place in the future or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it takes place in the future on like this, this city that's kind of walled off, and there's supposedly nothing outside of the city. It's very dystopian future. So, but with the good sci-fi movies that they've been making, I think it would be good. And I can't believe I didn't think of this until right now. Fucking Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, that could definitely work. It's a movie, probably. I don't know about a TV series. You can, but it'll be a pretty high budget.
I would like to see the entire run of Cowboy Bebop condensed into a trilogy, a live-action trilogy.
That would be cool, actually. Very different kind of sci-fi movie too, which would be nice.
Yeah, and the soundtrack. They could pick a brand new soundtrack that sticks to the original themes and kind of keep it, keep it running through a musical theme about every 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, that would be cool. Chris, you went, right? Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, no, I said Samurai Champloo.
And what about Brian? He's missing now, so I guess he missed his turn. All right,
I'm trying to think of old stuff. Oh man, remember that horrible live-action Fist of the North Star movie? I was thinking that, like, oh shit, they did that.
They did do that, of all things.
All right, let's move on to the next question, because I like this one. This is for the old school guys right here. Do you guys remember the Rankin Bass cartoons from the 80s?
Yes.
It's funny. He goes, it's funny to think, that's the actual question, but he just goes on to go, it's funny to think that the same company that did all of those old holiday specials perfected and tried replicating action shows when I was a kid. Yeah, man.
They did.
Silverhawks, all that shit, man.
Well, yeah, and they also did the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they did.
They did the Return of the King and the Hobbit.
Yeah, they did.
What's also weird to think is that while we were watching those same shows, Dragon Ball Z was being made.
Yes.
What? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember being like, well, wait a minute, I've been watching Thundercats and Dragon Ball's a thing.
Too. Yeah, Dragon Ball was on, but Dragon Ball Z was a '90s thing. Like any of the all the Rankin Bass, Thundercats and Silverhawks. That's all the '80s, so that's still Dragon Ball stuff.
Well, I was still watching G.I. Joe by the time I was 6, so that would have been 90. So it's
Dragon Ball Z was already out. Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z had already come out by then, but G.I. Joe had already changed. They already changed their format. Cobra Commander was like had a new outfit. That was after the movie. They did all that change, but they were, G.I. Joe lasted for a long time. You got to think, maybe started in 1983 or 4. And just lasted all the way to the night.
Go back and look watch an episode of Transformers from the same year that Dragon Ball Z was out, and fucking look at the difference.
No, but the thing is, Dragon Ball Z didn't exist when Transformers came out. Understand? Dragon Ball did, not Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was in 1988. Transformers 1983 or 4. Transformers came before Dragon Ball Z as far as animation goes.
Yes, but the thing is, at some point they both existed on TV for a little while. But the thing is that while Transformers was on his way out, Dragon Ball Z was coming in and destroying everything.
Yeah.
All right. The question was just basically do you remember? Yes, we do, and it was part of our childhood, definitely.
I mean, people. I personally like the style that they had. It's kind of a weird, lined style that they had for a lot of their shows. The designer that worked. It was actually based on. I can't remember what the style was based off of, but it was a very cool drawing style. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. All right. The last question from Roman Ronan is I'm excited about the new Star Ocean entry, but it reminded me of that one element most JRPGs contain, that one cutesy / high-pitched bratty character who typically ends up being the most useful, powerful members of the roster. Identify one of these crimes against humanity and why you just want to punt him or her across the world map. Oh,
everybody, I'm sure that she has a lot of fans, but I always thought Yuffie was really annoying from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, you stole the word right out of my mouth. I was like, Yuffie. Fuck that bitch.
Yuffie, that other girl from Final Fantasy 8, the one with the blonde, and the blonde one with the 2 sticks. She was also freaking annoying too. That was Riku, yeah.
That was from 10, wasn't it?
No, it was. Her name was Riku, I think too. I can't remember.
Okay.
There we go. Jossie said it. The Selfie.
Yeah, Selfie. Yeah. I'm having a hard time answering this one because there's so many of them, and you just need 2 really good ones.
Pom and Paku from Final Fantasy IV. Those guys.
Can you not name a Final Fantasy game?
They're the worst in Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
I'm glad that they turned to fucking stone. Those kids were stupid annoying.
Okay, here's my contribution. Fucking Navi.
Navi.
Oh, from Zelda?
I mean, granted, that's not a JRPG, but I'll let it slide.
Same idea.
Same idea, though. Very exact same idea. I forgot there was one character in the last Star Ocean game that I wanted to throw out the fucking airlock. You're annoying. The little girl from Star Ocean. I'm like, get rid of this bitch. She's just fucking annoying. And she turned out to be very pivotal to the plot. It's why is this kid on my ship? Get off. Very annoying. And sometimes, I hate to say this, I know some Final Fantasy guys are going to get my ass. Sometimes the Moogles annoy me too. It's Koopa. It's okay, I got it with the Koopa stuff. Calm it down with the Koopa stuff.
You love me.
Yeah, first Koopa, that's cute. Koopa, okay, cute Koopa. Koopa. All right, I got it.
They're way better in the text-only Final Fantasies, and I always like to think they have a voice kind of like Dr. Girlfriend from Venture Brothers.
No, they don't sound like.
Hey, do you want to say?
Hey, Koopa.
You want to use Magnet?
Use Gonzaga, honey. Use Gonzaga. Oh man!
You guys want your HP restored?
You want your HP restored?
It's funny. I kind of feel that way about Agnes from Bravely Default because she's not even high pitched and she whines, but she's such a Debbie Downer all the time. I'm like, yo, what's up, Buzz Killington? What are you gonna see today? Let's go after the next crystal. Oh, you feel down? Oh, too bad. Fuck your feelings. We gotta kill things now. The crystal has
been destroyed. We're not gonna save the world. Shut up, bitch. Let's go.
Yeah, it's we got work to do.
We got a world to save. Get over yourself.
We got a job to do. I don't know. She's just annoying.
Now everything's has voice acting. You can't make up your own awesome voice. It's you're Cloud. I'm Cloud. I don't know who I am.
Yeah. I that's the one thing that I would be really afraid of if they remade Final Fantasy VII. Like, please don't cast Cloud with like a 13-year-old girl voice. Please don't. I know you're going to.
He had a cool voice in Advent Children, didn't he?
It was just like, I'm so sad. It was just like that. It was
emo kid
and down. Sephiroth, I'll kill you. Finally. It kind of sounds like Duke Nukem I'm doing.
He kind of does. Right. Brett, do you have any other ones besides the one Manny stole from you?
I said Navi is. I think that most of the time those characters, I'm going to burn you out of my mind, and I will not use them until the story demands that I use them. Like I kind of felt that way about Tifa from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that's fighting words with Manny right there. That's his girl.
Yeah,
girl, yo.
I didn't really like Ares that much either, but.
All right. I'm cool.
Yeah, no, I'm not one of those people like Ares was awesome. It's like Ares was a blank canvas in a pink dress.
That's exactly what she was.
I sell flowers. Yeah, it's like
for you.
The entire reason that you feel bad that she died is because she liked you. Like, it's not for the loss of her as a person at all. You're just like, I killed this bitch, and somebody let me hold their hand at the fair. Like, it's weird. So, but Tifa was always just fucking bubbly and trying to cheer you up. I'm like, get out of my face, bitch! I got weapons to kill.
Yeah, but she had them big titties though, man. It was cool. It's like,
I never had a problem with her on my team. It's like when you lost Aerith and then you get Vincent. It's like, dude, is he a vampire? Do I have a vampire on my team? That's pretty cool. I got a cat sitting on a robot, a vampire, a fucking talking lion. I'm set.
Yeah, and a vampire that turns into other monsters.
Yeah, I was like, that's the shit.
That's cool.
The game really opened up when what's her name died.
The only thing that pissed me off is like, damn it! I just spent all this time leveling this bitch, and now she won herself.
That pissed me off. Clearly this bitch is important. So if she's the love interest, I may as well stack her points up, and she's also a healer. Of course, they can kill your fucking healer.
The thing that I thought was really horrible was like, okay, she died, and I was like, God damn it, she's dead, and I can't sell her fucking weapons to get money.
Yeah, it's like before he put her in the water to sink, it's like he should have plucked off all the materia. He's like,
yo, let me get that materia, son. Let me get that materia, son.
But the thing is that the materia is the stuff you kept, but any of her weapons and stuff like that, you could sell. So it's like, come on,
let me get her shit, son. Let me get that shit back.
No, because if you weren't severely grinding at that point, you had just gotten enough materia where she had learned all of your cure spells, now you like transferred your cure materia to somebody else. So you had one baller healer and then one person who could barely fucking heal a paper cut, and then they kill your baller healer, and you're like, well, shit, I guess I'm gonna heal for 100 HP at a time. What's that? 12,000 damage? That's fucking great. Thanks for that.
Oh man, Manny, I still remember what you said about Aerith the other day. You're like, "Ooh, look at me! I'm Aerith. I'm the flower girl.
I'm the flower girl. Look at me!" Oh, great.
Oh man, all right, Brian.
More dead weight to go with our group.
Yeah.
Now I gotta save you from things.
All right, Brian, finish us off.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I just make it a semi callback to a certain person we shall not name?
Uh-oh. I'm not saying nothing. All right, Brian, finish us off, man. What character do you pick?
I don't play enough to say anything.
Right.
I heard that is it the pink-haired one from like Final Fantasy 13 was like really annoying.
There's Sarah, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
She was the star of the second one.
No, not her. The other one. There was two.
Lightning?
No, not Lightning.
Lightning is pink hair.
It's kind
the
of
one the blonde-haired guy is in love with. That chick.
Yeah,
I don't have her name. The really annoying one that everyone just didn't like.
Oh, you mean Vanille, the Australian one. Yeah, the Australian one, yeah.
Australian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it funny how everybody was complaining, like, oh my god, her Australian accent is so horrible. Why did they have her do that accent? It's like, no, that's her actual voice. It wasn't a put on. Oh man, yeah, she was pretty annoying. Oh, hey, crikey, we gonna kill some things. We are. It's like, no, stop it.
I'd be shocked if they named her Vanille. Like, disease?
I don't know. It's the Japanese, dude. It's the Japanese. They're crazy. All right, let's move on. My man, Phantom Flash. Okay, I hope you guys read the link for this. What are your thoughts on the rumored leak Mass Effect 4 details? This is exactly how Dragon Age Inquisition shit got leaked, so we could bet this is true. The rough details are it takes place in the Andromeda Galaxy, and it has a whole new character, and it's completely away from the other events and stuff, but there is some sort of threat there. My thing is, when I read this, I'm like, wait, Andromeda Galaxy, do they have a mass relay that goes that far? I'm going to just assume they can, because now that everyone's migrating over, but this is still during Mass Effect, not after it.
It said it's separated by time and space.
No, but okay, is that what the document said? Because originally it said this takes place during Mass Effect.
Set in the Helios cluster of the Andromeda Galaxy, removed by time and space from the Mass Effect Commander Shepard trilogy and its ending.
Okay. So what you're saying is that a long time ago...
I like the way it says and it's ending.
And it's ending, yes. But here's the thing, they mentioned like Krogans and stuff, like they have Krogans in this fucking galaxy?
No, I'm thinking an exploration team left our galaxy and went out.
It has to be.
Yeah, they took all these... Krogans. They probably have Turians and Krogans and all these people, like a fleet went out to explore this cluster.
It must have been before the friggin' the war happened. It has to be, because they wouldn't send people to go exploring some other part of the galaxy when they kind of needed everybody to kind of handle this war thing.
They probably got there, and then the whole shit happened where the mass relays are gone, so they're probably stuck there.
So I'm guessing in this game they find a mass relay that actually takes you to another galaxy. Remember, the mass relays just connected you to certain parts within our galaxy, so I'm guessing this one takes you to another one, and I guess that's a smart way of just removing all the shit from what happened in the previous games.
Well, I mean, it's
and then they come back at the end of this series, and they're like, "What the fuck just happened? What ending did you pick?"
It was blue. Somebody picked the blue ending.
Yeah, this could even be like when humanity set out, they just set out in multiple different directions, and one of those group of people found the mass relays, and because Earth was actually in the Mass Effect world, right?
Yes.
So yeah, this could be just like another group of people, or maybe even this takes place way after the story.
No, they said. Well, I don't know about this document, but before this, they said this takes place before it, like during it. That's what they said. Here's the thing. Okay, I think they did say that it is human explorers, but they also take these other aliens with them too, because you're not gonna have Krogan in another galaxy.
Yeah, you are. Why not? Wow. They're like one of the most prolific breeding races in the known galaxy.
Brett, you know how far it is between the Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy?
Yeah, you know how far it is with mass relays?
No, but that's what I'm saying. But they've never established that there are mass relays between galaxies. They've only established mass relays between solar systems, understand?
This is what we call a retcon. Don't think about it that much. They'll probably
that's a crucial thing. It's like you can't just throw Andromeda Galaxy in there without explaining that.
Dude, they're gonna do the same. They're gonna do the thing, and they're gonna be like in the beginning. Oh my God, there seems to be a mass relay on the other side. Where does it go? Send a team. There you go.
Yeah. So I'm guessing okay, so it can't be just humanity off their own. They're probably like, hey, we're part of this galactic civilization now. Let's take a bunch of Krogan and Turians and let's go. Let's see what happens.
But this guy shows up. Keith David shows up. I hear there's send a team.
And then it sounds a lot, from what I read, it sounds a lot like Dragon Age Inquisition, in that you could send a team of NPCs out to do missions for you and stuff and gain experience and all that other shit for you. A lot of the little metagame stuff. Multiplayer's gonna be back. They're gonna do Horde mode. I don't know why they described it as Horde mode. That's what the other multiplayer was for Mass Effect. It was a total Horde mode. So it's the same shit, which is okay. I don't know why they described it as Horde mode. And they said, you can have the inter-character relationships, all that other good jazz,
It's gonna be naughty like The Witcher. It's like, exactly. Can we outdo The Witcher?
Well, I mean, hey, they started having nudity in Dragon Age Inquisition, so why not, right? Let me see them blue alien titties.
Oh, right. Speaking of nudity, this is slightly unrelated, but you know that the photo mode was added to the Order, right?
Oh gosh.
Okay, here's something fun. Okay, there are a couple of instances where there are actually fully nude characters on the screen. Okay, so there's this one portion in the game, you're in a brothel and you bust in, and then these two people are having sex, and then usual shit. Anyway, the scene after, you can actually turn on the photo mode, but one thing you can't do is take pictures of the two naked people. They disappear as soon as photo mode is activated.
Really?
Yes. So nobody can take really provocative pictures of the whore who's topless, or the guy who has has nothing on.
Stuff dangling around.
They thought of that ahead of time. Anyways, just wanted to throw that in there.
But can't you just save a video of you busting in the brothel and then you'd see?
You can save a video, but the thing is that you can.
So why that's stupid.
I don't know why. Why, for some reason specifically, they disappear as soon as you turn photo mode on.
No, you can't censor one when another is just all-encompassing. You have an all-encompassing share mode.
Unless they censored it in the. No, I mean they couldn't do that because you can't really turn photo mode on in when the other part is happening either. Like you can take screenshots and change the colors of it, but you can't really do that. But yeah, it's weird that they disappear.
That's crazy. Anything else you guys want to say about Mass Effect before we move on?
Mass Effect, I'm excited.
All right.
You know what Chris is going to be doing? He's going to be doing this. Launching probe.
That's right. When they said there was exploration and resource gathering, I'm all over it.
Hell yeah, do explore every planet, man.
That's right.
Am I the only one who's hesitant about this, then?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. You are, because it's Mass Effect.
So essentially, it's
boned so thoroughly.
They did. I enjoyed the whole ride of Mass Effect just because that ending sucked.
The ending sucked, but they fixed it, so it's okay.
The ending was. I mean, I didn't. I've said this before on previous shows. I wasn't that angry about the ending, and I still felt the ride was a lot better than the ending.
Yeah, the whole adventure was great.
And remember,
to be honest, the whole lead up to that to going into the friggin'
mass relay.
Into the mass relay, I thought that was awesome.
Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah. So, remember, BioWare kind of learns from their mistakes. Look how we got with that Dragon Age Inquisition. Fantastic, because they learned. This is just they're gonna take everything they've done and just make it better. So I'm excited.
I guess after Dragon Age, I'm on board.
There you go. Brett, I find it funny. Remember, hey, you were telling me, it's like, oh, you need to read all the lore and stuff in, Bloodborne, Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I read every single thing, man. Like every planet I scan, I read the fuck out of those.
Here's the thing, and this is probably going to coincide. This is coincide with the war that Tony's been having with Torrance statements on Twitter. You really should have. A lot of us have played the game, like portions of the game alone, without anybody assisting. Usually, most of the time, I've already gone through sections, and I'm just trying to get a boss, and that's usually when I'll call a person in. But for the most part, all the lore stuff, having another person there can be a little bit distracting. Because you kind of just want to go there. Okay, let's go in there. Let's blow this shit up, and you kind of don't want to pay attention to the little things. I found the same thing happen when I was playing co-op with Resident Evil 5. I kind of wanted to engage with the gameplay more than watching the cinematics. Normally when you're alone, you're kind of watching the cinematics or you're reading all the lore. Here's a question. Would this be if Mass Effect was like Bloodborne, where you can have another person kind of join in there? Do you think you would be able to pay as much close attention to the story as you did before?
Mass Effect would turn into a pure third-person shooter.
This has actually been done. In Knights of the Old Republic, when you went into your cutscenes, depending on who you had in your game, they would be able to take part in the conversation with you. Sometimes voicing their opinion along with yours, sometimes actually derailing your entire conversation. Like, you could talk to somebody, and the person with you went like, you know what, I think your face smells like ass. And then you have to spend the rest of the conversation being like, whoa, they don't know what they're talking about. They just help with, put the ship back together. We're cool. Or you could be like, yeah, I'm with them. Fuck you. And it actually made it so that it increased the replayability. Like, I think that would be potentially frustrating if somebody derails your game, but it would also kind of be fun and make you wary of, who you go running around with. Do you just run around with, random jackasses you meet on the internet and play the game like you're part of a pickup mercenary group? Or do you play the game with friends and kind of play it like you guys have known everybody? Like, if you and Manny played together, I assume that the narrative would kind of take a Han Solo Chewbacca kind of thing. Whereas if I just played with random jackasses, I would probably be chaotic as all hell and be like, fuck it, let's just drink and blow shit up, because everybody's Trevor in those kinds of games. So I think actually if it were that, I'd end up making multiple characters and playing the game through multiple ways. So I think it would not only work, but I think it would add to it.
Yeah, different ways again. But by the way, Bloodborne is a lot of fun with people, right, Brett? Jolly cooperation and all
Jolly
that.
cooperation.
All right,
and it helps if people can not die when facing Rom, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's the only
Rom
one
is the bane. Yeah, Rom is the bane of me and Chris's existence, man.
The only motherfucker throwing meteors in your face.
Oh, stop! Oh, I hate Rom.
And even though you were fighting that crazy laser thing.
That laser, Manny, that thing was easier than Rom, because I eventually did beat it on my own. That Rom, I was like, I can't.
Brian, you want to hear something crazier? I killed Rom by myself in New Game Plus in the last dungeon.
Really?
It's in a room. And I killed him where you don't have that infinite lake. There's a room. All the spiders are crowding around you, and I managed to kill him, and I couldn't help you kill him. So imagine how red I was. Egg on my face.
Rom is a motherfucker, man. But anyway, let's go on to these last couple of questions here. Okay, Chris, this one's for you.
Uh-oh.
Do you think Nintendo will follow both Sony and Microsoft and cut backwards compatibility with the NX in exchange for reselling their games digitally or re-releasing them as HD remasters? I ask you this because you don't think the next console is going to be a console per se.
I don't actually think it's going to be a console. I think they might, since they already have the virtual console and stuff, they're probably going to resell all their stuff digitally. I don't see them re-releasing HD remasters. They barely do that as it is. They only did it for Zelda. I honestly thought the NX probably is going to be some kind of tablet device thing that is just, you're probably gonna just dock it to play it on your TV and take it with you and play it wherever. I don't think it's gonna be a traditional console.
Essentially what everybody thought the Wii U was.
Yeah. What everybody thought the Wii U was, this thing probably will be. I don't think it's gonna be a traditional console, and I don't see them having the resources to remake all their stuff like HD remasters. They're not going to do that. They're going to just sell everything digitally.
Yeah, I'm going to just defer to you on this because I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't.
I really don't care either. It's annoying. Like it pisses me off. But I honestly everybody made their choice. I don't have a Wii U. I play my 3DS once in a while. I enjoy my Vita. I have my PlayStation. I jump on Steam once in a while. I started playing Star Trek Online again. I really don't have room for Nintendo's nonsense. They're kind of dead to me at this point.
You're dead to me, bro.
I saw the stuff with Pokemon Shuffle. I mentioned it in the editorial. I don't like pay-to-win games, and if they're going in that direction, then I want nothing to do with them.
I definitely agree. I don't think that with your original statement, I don't think they've even proven in the past that. Like all their new consoles have not been backward compatible. It's rare. It was a rare thing that even with the Wii that we got a backward compatible console. But what was the Wii? The Wii was a fucking GameCube.
It was.
So I don't think that the Wii U games that we have now are going to be compatible with the new console.
Right,
and I definitely think that Nintendo is going to be like, well, you could go buy it on the virtual console if you really like it a lot.
I mean, these are the guys who are trying to nickel and dime YouTube creators for money for Let's Play videos, right? This is the company we have now. That's not the ones we grew up with. This is what they are now. So any chance they have to make money, if backwards compatibility, like removing it, even like not even having it is going to make them more money, they'll do it. That's no skin off their nose. They're just going to be like, oh, buy it digitally again. You own Galaxy? Who cares? Buy it again.
Oh man, pretty much. All right.
You like Mario Galaxy? Do you want to play it in the same resolution that you played it in when it originally came out? Buy it on Virtual Console.
Podcat.
Yeah,
Brett, I just yelled podcast when you came on screen. All right, anything else to say about this? Because like I said, I don't care.
There's a cat on the screen, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I feel like
I wish we
like
had
guessing the Queen of England like right now, and no one will notice.
Yeah, it's just a
I
cat.
wish we had a soundboard. I would really like to play the line from The Fugitive with that Tommy Lee Jones gives. It's like, I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care.
I think that's the consensus for all of us. We don't care what Nintendo does at this point.
Exactly. All right. Last question from Fan of Ashes, a very good one. Had a little bit of a debate about this in the chat room. Do you think the combination of the hype surrounding the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront game, as well as the hype surrounding Episode 7 movie, that Battlefront will be able to surpass Black Ops 3 as the number one selling game this holiday? Originally, I was like maybe, but then after talking to Nash, no. Here's the thing: Call of Duty exists in its own world. Like, it's not really a game that, like, I mean, gamers buy it, but it's really for the mass populace. Like, Call of Duty is a thing. Like Madden, it's a thing. You buy Madden, you buy Call of Duty because it's an event. Star Wars Battlefront, it's kind of, I mean, I know it's Star Wars, but it's still kind of a little bit niche. No one knows the name Battlefront like you do Call of Duty. So in that sense, I think the mass population will flock to Call of Duty just like they always do. And it's Black Ops 3, which is supposedly like the best of the series, according to Nash. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't really. I was going to defer to you, Brian, but you stopped caring at that point. So I'm going to go with Call of Duty. They're probably going to outsell it. And here's the thing about Battlefront. Even though no one cares about this aspect of Call of Duty, it has a single player. Battlefront does not. I think that's going to hurt it. I think it's going to become another Evolve and Titanfall. No one's going to care after a month, you know, even with the movie coming out. So Call of Duty's going to take it easily. That's what I say. Manny, what do you say?
Also, possibly that, you know, the Battlefront is probably the easiest route they could have ever taken because it doesn't need to follow any specific lore. You know, it's just like, you get in a room and blow up the Death Star. You know, it's like that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to step on anybody's feet and so be like, well, when they went into the Death Star, there was this whole other guy. His name was
you already know.
His name was Buzz Rollerglin, and he stole the plans. You know, so yeah, it's just I definitely don't think that I don't think it'll do the same numbers. And also, you know, it's a different type of fan that kind of that plays those. Well, there's a lot of. Well, no, I mean like
they're both first-person shooting games.
They're both first-person shooter games, but the things that I think there are people that will be like, I don't want that bullshit sci-fi shit. I want.
But Black Ops 3 is going to have mechs and shit in it.
Yeah. Titan Ops.
Yeah, they have mechs and all that stuff in it.
Now, is the new Battlefront only going to be third person, or is it going to be first?
You could switch.
I think that's one going to help sell it. And maybe this is just the crowd that I've kind of talked to, but at least as far as I've always known, Battlefront has gone down as being one of the greatest shooting games made. Like it almost has a cult status of being one of the better made games in memory.
But
Yeah,
it's not the same people making it, though.
It's not, but it's still kind of coming from a pedigree where people think Battlefront, they inevitably think it's going to be kind of like the last one, and if the people making it know anything of what they're doing, they're probably going to model it after the last one. Like we definitely did something right with Battlefront and Battlefront 2 because people love those games. So
to me, it's like rehashing GoldenEye. You know, GoldenEye was great for what it was, but you can't. There's only so long that you can keep harping on GoldenEye, and then everybody realize that those new GoldenEye remakes are just pieces of shit.
I'm really excited. I mean, maybe it's just the fact that I love a third-person shooter, and I love the ability to toggle between them. So you know, I'll have a lot of fun with this, and I remember how much fun I had with the old Battlefront. So. I mean, I'm on board. I don't think it'll dethrone Call of Duty as your go-to shooter. I think their numbers might eke out a little bit above Call of Duty over the holiday season because I think everybody's gonna get Star Wars madness to a certain extent, and then on top of that you put up one of the best rated shooting games on top of that. And
quick question. if it's just going to be kind of like an online type of experience, like arena stuff with that Battlefront game, why did they hire Amy Hennig to work on it again?
She's not working on that one. She's working on another Star Wars game.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I'm excited for. This shooting one, no, I don't care about it. I want to see her game. But yeah. Oh, by the way, here's something to take note. During Star Wars Celebration, which has happened over the weekend, they were asking people, "Are you excited for Battlefront?" Most of them didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They didn't even know. They didn't even know what the game. They knew about KOTOR. They knew about that. They didn't know about Battlefront. So that
wouldn't they make it another fucking KOTOR or re-releasing one of the old KOTORs in HD? That's the name.
That would be a smart move. Or 1313, which everybody wants. Whatever happened to that?
They expanded it. Are they still working on it?
No, they're not.
They're not. Yeah, I thought when Disney acquired them, it got dropped.
Yeah,
they got mega dropped.
I mean, as soon as they liquidated LucasArts, that game got canceled.
And then when you ask about it, they say it's being worked on by top men, and you're like, "What men?" And they go, "Top men."
All right. Anybody else have anything else to add to this?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
I have a couple thoughts to add. First of all, you're not going to dethrone Call of Duty. People should just stop trying. There's only one game that has done it, and that's because it's fucking GTA. GTA is ironically the rock star of our gaming generation, or gaming in general. So it did it because it is GTA. No one is really touching GTA, so you just won't outdo it. The closest thing that did a dent in it, I think, was Halo 4. I think it was, or Halo 5. That did a reasonable dent in Call of Duty sales, but it was nowhere near big enough. Will Battlefront, along with the Star Wars hype, help? Nope. No. For one reason only: the audience. The Call of Duty audience is pretty much the Michael Bay audience. Yep. And the Michael Bay audience and the Star Wars guys, they're two different fields. The Michael Bay one is way larger.
I mean, we're not talking about directly comparing, are we? And
no, we're talking about sales.
My question is,
which one's talking about sales? Who's going to outsell the others?
Aren't there lots of games that, for a little while, sell better than Call of Duty? But the thing about Call of Duty is they have a well-entrenched fan base that will keep that.
Call of Duty sounds like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Brett, remember the 10th best-selling game of last year of 2014 was 2013's Call of Duty.
No, I believe it. Crazy. I think it's constantly in the top 4. I just don't think it's constantly at number 1.
No, it's not
it's constantly number 1, but it's always
up there.
Yeah,
maybe one or two games will have that higher month, but that's about it. It'll have.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this in artistic terms. Let's say if you did an infographic, right? Or animated one of 12 months in the year, right? The top 5 games. You're going to see that 5 list there. Call of Duty is going to remain there no matter what. You're going to see all the games around it shifting. Call of Duty will remain there no matter what.
It'll always be there. It's a steady, definite, slow burn, well-entrenched sale. But, I mean, I thought the nature of the question was more will it eke out Call of Duty for the holiday season? November, December, I can see it being number 1 and Call of Duty being number 2 for November, December. When is the new Call of Duty coming out is the question.
It's usually the second week of November.
Yeah,
usually.
Okay, so they would both be new releases.
Yeah. But then again, this is Call of Duty. That time of year is Call of Duty time. That's pretty much become the semi-standard of the industry now. Even companies that avoid that time of year because that's when Call of Duty just kicks ass.
Right, and then also you have Halo squeezing into that same time slot.
Yeah,
Halo 5 is coming out right in Call of Duty and Battlefront, and honestly, like Tony said, Battlefront doesn't have that recognition. Even Star Wars fans don't realize it's coming out, so that's not good.
If they're being released at the same time, I retract my statement. Call of Duty.
You need a Hold on, Brian. Did GTA sell better than Call of Duty last year too when it was the HD one? I don't think it ever did, but it's still.
Remember. It's still selling now. It's still in the top.
It's ridiculous.
I seen the NPD numbers, and it's GTA and Call of Duty are just there. Along with Madden and stuff like that. It's Jesus Christ.
See, that's the thing. And remember,
hasn't everyone bought this game already? Well, I did buy it 3 times, so I should not be talking about it.
Do you remember when we were the Throwdown? We told everyone GTA is going to obliterate Call of Duty, and the people called us crazy. GTA is on a whole other level. Like you thought. Okay, Call of Duty is already on a whole other level as far as tales go. GTA is beyond that.
I feel bad for the people making GTA 6.
Oh man, but do you feel bad for them because it's gonna sell? It's GTA.
Yeah, but they're like, can you live up to GTA 5? Like, really?
You totally can. You totally can. GTA 5 was not perfect. It had a few things wrong with it. You could definitely outdo that. You know.
I think GTA 5 is our current San Andreas. Like, we're gonna take a step back before we take 2 more steps forward. That's
we'll
just
see
me.
about that. Maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, with Battlefront, because I'm a massive fan of Battlefront games. I got them both, and I love them. And essentially, they were essentially just the Battlefield games with a Star Wars skin. So now that the creators of Battlefield themselves are now developing it, I feel like it will be a stronger title. However, I just don't think that it has enough weight behind it to actually make an impact, or enough of an impact to edge past Call of Duty this year. Like, maybe it will do well, like strongly well, but I just don't think that it has enough oomph. Maybe EA will market the shit out of it because EA marketing budget is like stupidly crazy. So, but then again, it's up against Activision's marketing budget, which is equally as stupid crazy. So, it's really difficult to tell. You know, but I just don't think that it will.
Nah, no way, no way. All right,
I was buying it, but
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, I'm like I said, I'm probably gonna skip it because unless they're not gonna have a multiplayer, single player, so I don't know. Anyway, the last question here about Michael, aka Mike Madden. If you could only have one type of media for the rest of 2015 between movies and games, which do you choose? I'm gonna go with movies too. I'm sorry. I know I'm a games writer. I'm going movies. Look at all the Star Wars and Fantastic Four and all this other shit. Avengers, movies. There's not even.
We have an Avengers. We have a Star Wars. We have what? Fantastic Four. We have
Mad Max.
A Mad Max. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a hell of a year.
You're done. They're done.
Gaming's good this year, but what? There's Phantom Pain, Witcher 3. Does Batman confirmed?
Yeah, Batman. Yep.
Like the rest is all just a bit like wavy, like here and there. Like The Division, maybe not. There's Battlefront, which I'm still okay for, but I'm not like overly excited for. You know, so I'm sorry, but movies just have it this year.
Brian, you have to say Halo 5, or others ink will froth at the mouth.
Is Halo 5 coming out this year?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That question alone is going to get you heat. It's coming out there.
It's fine, Tony. I'm a PC gamer. I can make fun of him paying for Xbox Live.
He's going to come after your ass.
Gosh.
I think
all you do is I can just say that I don't see him. You know, he's too low resolution for me.
Oh.
All right, Brett, what about you, man? You're the odd man out.
I'm going to go video games.
Wow. See, I knew you were going to say that, you fucking contrarian. I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not just trying to be different. It's I don't know. A lot of the... I mean, do we lump TV in with movies?
No, just movies, just films.
Yeah, it's a lot of the great stuff that I've seen lately has been series. I've seen a couple really great movies, but for the most part, I enjoy series and video games more. It's more of an opportunity to tell a story.
Yeah, okay, I can see that, but I mean, it's just like for me personally, it's like only 2 big games coming out this year. It's like Metal Gear and Batman, and like the others. Witcher, I'm excited, but I'm also not because it's the third one. I never played the other ones. And what else is coming out?
I mean, would this question, if I said movies, it would retcon me ever having played Bloodborne, and I'm a huge Souls fan, so it's one of those things like, you know, that'd be asking you in a year where Metal Gear came out.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm guessing it's later on.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So you give up Metal Gear for...
Dude, I'm sorry, one Metal Gear game versus like 5 big-ass movies. I'm going to go with the movies, you know? I'll wait for
the Metal Gear game you will play for longer than the combination of all those movies put together.
But it's one thing, understand? It's one thing. It's not 5 different things. It's a difference.
Yeah, it's like 10 hours of 5 different things versus 12 to 15 hours of one thing.
but it still gets more different stories out of it. Understand?
See, this is where we hit our wall.
Yeah, we hit our wall.
This is where we hit the impasse.
Yes, like, no, dude, I'm sorry. Avengers and fucking Star Wars alone is like Metal Gear. I love you. You'll wait till next year. Star Wars is out this year. This is big. This is monumental. This year is too big for movies, man. Too big. All right. I guess that's it. Before we leave, Manny, plug.
Yes. I'm sure everybody notices that right there. Am I pointing to it, right?
Yes, you are. You're pointing exactly to it.
Yes, that is my C2E2 table. I'm not going to be on the next episode of the next Throwdown episode and the next Throwdown Your Questions episode.
You'll be in Chi-Town.
Because I will be in Chi-Town, Mr. Chicago. I'll be there. I'll be there doing my thing, with Kari. We have, I'm gonna have all my cool stuff. I'm gonna have my little Art of Metal Gear book, which I got here, which we finally got prints of. You see right there.
Nice.
I will have. I also have a couple posters that I did, which are this right here, the Liquid Snake poster.
Fancy.
Yep, and a Wicked poster for you Star Wars fans.
Nice.
So yeah, we're gonna be me and Car are gonna be there, saying hello to fans. So I really love getting to see you guys from the Throwdown drop by and say hello. I mean, last time I was there,
I want to make friends with you on PSN, but he'll see you at
I'll see you, man. I'll talk to you and stuff. We talk and stuff. It's all good, but no PSN.
Yeah, sorry, man. I have to throw you under the bus.
No, it's not, but I do like meeting the fans out there. I mean, I met one when Malik was when Malik for Play was not a pimp at Nerdist. He came to visit me one year, and I had a couple of other guys who were also fans of the show drop by and say hello.
You had Dio come.
Yeah, I had Dio. He was from Dio's he's a local New Yorker, so he'll always pop up at those things. So we'll always see him. But I mean, it's always good to see all you guys out there, and also fans of my work, from my comic work. It's really cool to see you guys out there, just liking the work and stuff like that. And again, you don't need you don't have to feel the need to pick up something from me. I'm just cool with talking with you guys. That's part of the reason why I get there, because I go to these things because it's like, especially with the hours that I work, it's very easy to fall into that kind of cave mentality. You create your little things in there, you get paid, you create your things and you get paid, and you really don't get a full sense of what your work is doing or affecting, how it's affecting people. So it's always good to hear that directly from the horse's mouth, rather than just kind of searching around the internet, be like, reviews for blah blah blah, But yes. Yeah, definitely come by. I'm at Artist Alley T10, and it'll be me and Kari Randolph. Kari and I have a print. I'm actually going to show you a small preview.
Ooh.
You're going to get a little preview of what it is. So let me just do the share screen here. Let's see if I can find Photoshop.
Those guys listening, they're probably like, "Man, what's he talking about, man? I can't see shit."
Yeah, so fortunately for those of you who aren't able to see, yes, I will. You will be able to see exactly what it is. But all right, so let's see if this works. Can you guys see that?
It's coming up now. It's black and stuff. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Spider-Man. Ooh.
Yep, it's the Spider-Verse. It's not done yet. I mean, I've gotten all my colors down. I still got to do a bunch of extra work on it, but that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to look like. It's just going to have a lot more fun stuff on there.
Nice.
So yes.
Awesome.
Usually
Spider Pig is in there.
Yeah. Spider Ham is in there.
Yep. Yeah. And that's all. Kari. We usually whenever we usually share tables, because again we work together a lot. Like pretty much every project that Kari has worked on, I have worked on as well. And a lot of times what we do is we always do like a joint. We do like a colorist, artist colorist kind of collaboration piece. Like 1 year we did Heroes for Hire, which was was a Heroes for Hire guy, and did that. We painted it up. I painted it up, and we made it look like an old blaxploitation, like a movie poster. Another year last year I think we did Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that, and they do really well because a lot of people seem to like, really like the work we do. So it'll be fun stuff.
Awesome. All right, I guess you'll be listening to Throwdown while you're
out
there.
I'll be listening. I'll have that same moment that we were having listening to Throwdown when we were at E3.
Yes, very surreal.
I remember that, like, where you were like listening to Throwdown, and you're like literally like, "Welcome you to Throwdown." You're like that.
It was fucking up.
Well,
right. Yeah.
I won't exactly be on for Throwdown Your Questions, but I might call in or something like that. Maybe I'll even call in on when Throwdown is happening. I'll have to remember what time it is because I'll be at Central Time.
Yeah, you'll be at different time. All right, so there you go, people. If you're in Chicago, go to C2E2 and check out Emilio Lopez and Kari Randolph. Badass artists. All right, guys, so thank you for watching and listening. Be sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Check out Co-op, which is on tomorrow. Next to the Turntable and Baby in the Beard. They just redesigned stuff, so you can check that out. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you in Chicago.
Brett Murdoch.
See you guys.
Chris Seeley.
Take care, everyone.
And Brian Majoma.
I need to pre-order my tickets for Wednesday.
Yes. All right, guys. Later.
Later, people.